If you've ever missed two birdie putts near the end of your round, then you would have had a day like I did yesterday. But welcome back, folks. Hope you all had a great, relaxing weekend. We're back for another big week here. And boy, oh boy, we've got more earnings on deck here for this week. We're going to break all the news down. We're going to go over what happened over the weekend, get you set for the week here today as we move full-fledged into August. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for August 4th, Monday, August 4th, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. As mentioned, I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you got plenty of rest, spent time with your families, hung out with your friends, whatever it is. I hope that you enjoyed it because we're back here now to make sense of this crazy market and try and make some more money to keep things going. Do have some bad news for you here today. I discovered this morning, as I was preparing, CNBC has started talking about Christmas. So for those of you that think the Christmas talk always starts too early, mark it down. August 4th was their first mention of Christmas on CNBC. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. On Monday, Paul first. Good morning, Paul. Futures trader gets it locked in here first on a Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, boss. Chase, welcome back. It's good to see you. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Jane, welcome back. Hopefully you've had a great end of your week there. Good to see you again. C-Dub, we are ready for another beautiful day. Good morning, boss. Welcome back. Good to see you. Zach, good morning. Extra caution from now on. Choppy until the October bottom and then the end of year rally. Tariff effects, uncertainty not included. So, just kind of a reminder here. I think Zach's on to something. If you take a look at seasonality, throw all of the hand-wringing over tariffs out. If you take a look at seasonality, traditionally August is, in fact, a choppy month. And September is the weakest month of the year, which normally bottoms in October. So, Zach, your timeline here seems spot on. And we will try and make sense of that, make sure we don't take too many early positions, right? You're early in a market like this. It can be more chopped than a Benihana and then maybe even some downside. So we're going to try and be tactical and preserve our capital as always. Pete, good morning. Locked in and ready to go. I love to see it. Buffalo by Bicycle. Good morning, stock nerds. Nerd is a term of endearment, so I will take that as a compliment this morning, Buffalo. Welcome back. Dermal, good to see you again. Welcome back. Rooster, good as always, man. Welcome back. Day Trader locked in. Good to see you again as well. We got all the regs, all of them. Sun-kissed Yogi locked in. Let's go. Dave, good morning. Good to see you again. Producers locked in, I know. Big Milkshake Trading, good morning. James, good morning. Welcome back. Sean, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Torloff, good morning. Tom, it's great to see you as always. Brent, good morning. Sassy Butterfly Chick, good morning. Cad Monkey, good morning. Kevin, good morning. Mighty Soldiers. Andy, man, it has been too long, brother. Hope you are doing well. Let me ask, Andy, do you have 3 stocks today that are on your radar? Let our chat know. I hope you and family are doing well. We miss you. Jay Grant, good morning. Welcome back. Artraf, good morning. Good to see you again. Producers having fun with the Christmas mention, lol. Glass half full, welcome back. Austin, welcome back. LH, welcome back. Christian, welcome back. Tony and Terlingua, welcome back. Paulo, it's good to see you as always. Rail, it's good to see you as always. Welcome back. Charles, good morning. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. EKS, good morning. Telling us that Tyson is up today, 4% on an earnings beat, and most importantly, the guide higher. So Tyson, a little bit higher here today. Thank you, EKS. Tyler, good morning. Ed, good morning. Joe, good morning. Chuck, good morning. And Charles, Joby buying BLDE. We're going to talk about that. I believe they're only buying one division of the company, and it's not a buyout of the entire company, but we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. Ricardo, good morning. It's great to see you. All right, folks, let's dive into the SPY. And what we talked about last week is maybe still in play here today. We talked about the 20-day moving average potentially catching the price as we roll back over. It was unable to do that. And in fact, on Friday, not only did we gap down beneath the 20, but we traded lower on Friday. We made maybe one move higher, but really couldn't go green. And as a result, we could not recapture that. Now, the market this morning here, everything is in the green. In fact, let's just go really quickly to the morning update. I'll go back to the SPY chart here in a sec. Good morning, ATL Russ. You take a look here at the market. Everything's up here in the morning. So we have the SPY up by about 0.6. We have the NASDAQ up by about 0.8. It's actually backed off. It's up about 0.7 now. And we have the Dow up about 0.4. This also backed off some of its highs. So Bitcoin is up. Bitcoin actually had another nice weekend. Gold is up here today. So we'll see where we end up going. We'll see where we end up going here today. It's nice to start with some green arrows, but a lot of the times when we start the morning with these green arrows, it ends up reversing. If we take a look down through the rest of the morning report real quick, no IPOs here. I'm sure we're going to have our hands full trading Figma post-IPO anyway. No corporate events here today. We did have some analyst initiations, but I think these will kind of go by the wayside in lieu of some of those earnings. That would be my best guess in here. Comcast getting an upgrade there. Market outperform on AVAV, JPM Securities. Remember, AVAV is best in breed for drone stocks. So I actually wouldn't be shocked if some of the smaller folks in that drone sector end up getting some play off of this. Unsure if they're going to close higher, rage, or anything like this, or anything like that, excuse me. But just know JPM taking AVAV to market outperform with the 325 price target. Stock's 262. So there's plenty of movement in there. Take a look at some downgrades here. Not a whole lot on there. I don't really know that any of these are terribly important, but then we get to earnings. And there are plenty of earnings here today and this morning, as EKS was mentioning. We should be able to go to the calendar here. This should give you a look at what's going on here today. So we talked a little bit about, or we mentioned anyway, Tyson reporting earnings here today. Tonight, Simon Property Group, which remember is one of Tim Melvin's favorite picks. But then we also get Palantir, Axon, and Vertex, ticker VRTX. I suspect those will be pretty big. We also have HIMS on the list here. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, tomorrow, we have CAT in the morning. We have Pfizer, Marriott, we said CAT, Marathon, Duke Energy, Zoetis. We talked a little bit about this with Anne-Marie on Friday last week. So on Tuesday this week, we're probably going to set up some earnings plays for some of these other stocks that are reporting later in the week. It really starts to kick off on Tuesday night with AMD, Coupang, and then maybe throw Aflac and Amgen in there. And then on Wednesday, once again, probably our biggest day, Shopify in the morning, and then McDonald's, Uber, Disney. How many of you are still trading Disney? And then Wednesday afternoon, Airbnb, DoorDash, Fortinet, McKesson. So we got a lot of big reports here. And then on Thursday, we're going to have Eli Lilly in the morning. We'll see where that ends up going. So again, tons of earnings prints here again today. We've already started here this morning. Let's go ahead and we already took a look at the SPY. I mean, really all I'm looking for here is what happens around the 20-day. Do we trade back up to the 20-day? That value is 628. We're currently at 625 in the pre-market. Do we get rejected by that? Do we sell off from that? Or are we actually able to recapture that? If we are able to recapture that, we have a small gap back up here to about 632. And we'll see if we're able to make some more gains from there. If we just continue to reverse today, meaning if we just kind of sell off out of the open here, or we're really not strong enough to recapture that 20, I really got to think that this level down here, 614, might be a pretty good level. Now, I want to shout out Mark Petrino, because if you folks recall, let me actually go to the inside chart here. If you folks recall, we had him as our guest on Friday, and he told us that from looking at the charts, it sure looks like 620 is good support. Well, look where 620 was. Mark Petrino calling that one right on the head live here prior to the session. So far we've held 620. That level also going to come into play here today. Now, let's take a look at some of the news. Let me go back to the daily chart here real quick, get that all set up. And let's take a look at some of the market news from over the weekend and this morning. Now, President Trump ordered the dismissal of Erica and I always mess this one up. Tarfer. So Tarfer. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. It is not. I'm not doing that intentionally. Erica is the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the BLS, on Friday after accusing her of manipulating employment data for political purposes. Now, I'm going to say this just as kind of an aside. We talk a lot about these numbers being cooked, wrong, manipulated, blah, blah, blah. I don't know that I have any proof that this one person did that, and I don't think Trump does either. It just seems like a barb. If a football team is playing really poorly, they fire the coach, even if the coach is not out there making plays. So I don't want to draw too much from that. But this did happen here. Now, the jobs report came just days after the U.S. economy notched a significantly better than expected 3% GDP growth during the second quarter, marking a strong rebound from the 0.5% contraction of the prior quarter. It also came just a day after the Fed decided to hold rates steady during its July FOMC meeting. And our entire group here, really from top to bottom, anticipated that that was going to be the case. So I don't really think that there's any type of surprise there, frankly. Heading into the next week, investors will be closely watching several macroeconomic indicators, ranging from factory orders and U.S. trade deficit data to initial jobless claims and wholesale reports. So your view ahead here, Tuesday, we do get the import-export data at 8:30, and then at 10, we get the ISM Services PMI. On Wednesday, we have Fed's Cook speaking. I'm not sure that the market's really going to move from that, but that's going on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, as mentioned here, we have the jobless claims in the morning at 8:30. We have Bostic speaking at 10. We have Musalem speaking at 10:20. And then we have the consumer inflation expectations at 11. So Thursday, your big economic data print day, or your biggest of the week here today. Additionally, earnings reports from Palantir, AMD, Novo Nordisk, and Lilly are expected to set the tone for the markets this week. We talked about it. There's going to be a ton of earnings reports. We'll see how that all goes. Now, let's get to some insights here. Chartered market technician and chief market strategist for the Carson Group, Ryan Dietrich, notes that after the Fed's decline, the S&P 500 has finally closed below the 20-day moving average that we have all been watching here for so long. After an incredible streak of 68 days, this, again, that streak is impressive. Now we want to see if that can maybe recapture it, or do we stay below it? And if we stay below it, for how long will we stay below that 20-day moving average? According to Dietrich, there were 8 other times when the index made it past the 60-day mark, and of those, the index was higher a year later in 7 of those times, and poised for double-digit growth in the fourth quarter. It's for double-digit growth in 4 of those. So some pretty good stats backing this up. We'll see if it plays out. Remember, what happened in the past is not indicative of what's going to happen in the future, but we do want to we want to observe those odds as best we can. So Ryan Dietrich doing some of the work here for us. If you want any of this, his chart is in there in the news story. Now, next, we've got Tom Lee making some news here today. How about that? Tom Lee says the Fed is about to pivot as Goldman warns of the largest job revision since 1968. Quote, this is supportive of higher PEs. Now, Fundstrat's head of research, Tom Lee, predicts a Federal Reserve policy pivot following Goldman Sachs' warning about historic job data revisions as July's employment figures reveal the 2 largest month downward adjustment outside of recessions in 1968. Goldman Sachs economists highlighted that the recent job revisions represent the most significant adjustment in 57 years outside of recession periods. Again, this played into the firing of Erica there. The investment bank's research note warned clients to expect additional large revisions in the upcoming reports. The net downward revision of 258,000 jobs for May and June payrolls marked the largest 2-month adjustment since 1968, according to Goldman's analysts. These revisions were split between public and private sector positions, with state and local government cuts accounting for 109,000 of the total reduction. Lee responded to CNBC's Brian Sullivan on X on Sunday, writing, quote, the Fed has a dual mandate, jobs and inflation. Goldman notes these job report revisions are so large, we haven't seen them in 57 years, and this strengthens the case labor market is further away from the Fed mandate than the Fed realizes. Oh, the Fed is wrong or late? That's never happened before. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Lee concluded his assessment by stating, to me, reads as a Fed pivot is coming, and that is equal to supportive of higher PE ratios, suggesting equity valuations could rise as lower interest rates reduce the discount rates and increase investor appetite for risk assets. So pretty interesting read here from Tom Lee. I know he's fairly polarizing, but this is what you got. If you want to go through that, the tweet, or any of the back and forth, the link is in the chat there for you. July's employment report showed just 73,000 new jobs, falling short of the expected 110,000. The unemployment rate increased to 4.2%, while wage growth remained elevated at 3.9% year over year. Markets now fully priced in 2 rate cuts by December, with the September cut odds surging to 76% following Friday's data release. 2-year Treasury yields plunged 22 basis points to 3.75%, marking the largest drop since August of 2024. Former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers warned the economy is, quote, closer to stall speed than we thought, end quote, citing the possibility of a recession. University of Michigan economist Betsy Stevenson linked labor market weakness to the current administration's policies affecting education, government, construction, and hospitality sectors. Goldman Sachs estimates benchmark revisions could show a downward adjustment of 550,000 to 950,000 jobs when the preliminary data is released on September 9, potentially reducing monthly payroll growth estimates by 45,000 to 80,000 positions over the past year. On Friday, the indexes actually moved lower. So just some more things to keep in mind here. Got some more doom and gloom for you. We'll just keep pushing through here. Moody's economist warns U.S. economy, quote, on the precipice of recession, end quote, as tariffs and labor shortages trigger a market sell-off. Y'all folks remember this guy. Moody's Analytics chief economist Mark Zandi warned on Sunday that the American economy stands, quote, on the precipice of recession, end quote, following those data released last week. Mark Zandi has a long history. You can go check out how accurate he is over the years. I'll just leave it at that. Economic data points to contraction. Quote, the economy is on the precipice of recession. That's the clear takeaway from last week's economic data dump. Consumer spending has flatlined, construction and manufacturing are contracting, and employment is set to fall. Boom, boom, boom. July's jobs report shows just 73,000 new positions added, well below the expected 110,000. Unemployment rose to 4.2%, while wage growth remained elevated at 3.9% year over year. The report included massive downward revisions of 258,000 jobs for May and June combined. Zandi attributed the economic weakness to increasing U.S. tariffs and highly restrictive immigration policy. He explained that tariffs are, quote, cutting increasingly deeply into the profits of American companies and the purchasing power of American households, end quote. The economist noted that while unemployment remains low, labor force growth has gone sideways due to a shrinking foreign-born workforce and declining participation rates. He highlighted in, quote, economy-wide hiring freeze, particularly for recent graduates, and the decline in hours worked. So not a good report there from Mark Zandi. Now, as mentioned, I would encourage all of you to go back and look through some of the things that he said before you make too big of a bet on what he's saying here today. Now, folks, last week, I promised you we were going to talk to Louis Navellier. We had a scheduling conflict come up and couldn't make it, but guess what? We got it all set here for today. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. Let's give a warm welcome here to Louis Navellier. Good morning. Happy Monday. How you doing, my man?
I'm good.
Good to see you here. I know we couldn't get together last week, but thank you for making the time here today. Let me just start off by saying I go through analyst notes every day here. I want to take a look at what people think about the market, where they think the market's going, and all of that. And I go through 2 or 3 of your quotes per week. Of all of the analysts that we've taken a look at, without a doubt, you have been the most accurate on all of the stuff going on with the tariffs and all of that. So I'm just going to start off here pretty simply. What do you see for the market for the rest of the year here in 2025?
Well, I think I'll be up at least 20% between now and the end of the year because my earnings are growing at 58%. So that's with PE compression. S&P might only be up 12% or so because the market's still kind of narrow. You still got to be in predominantly AI and or data center related companies. The economy should get a turbo boost here as soon as the Fed gets together and starts to cut rates. We had not only 2 dissenters, we're going to have a third soon because the FOMC member that didn't show up last week just resigned. So Trump will appoint somebody that will want to cut. So we'll have at least 3 dissenters next meeting, and of course market rates have come down, and we are going to have a nice tailwind from the Fed cutting, and we are in the midst right now of a global interest rate collapse. So Treasury yields I expect to go lower. I expect the 10-year to be at 3.5% sometime next year.
Do you think it's a pretty safe bet that September we're going to get this first cut?
Yeah, right now it is. Yeah, I mean, if I was the Fed, I'd cut now.
Would you have cut in July if you were part of the Fed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In the wake of the what happened with the payroll report, the big downward revisions, that's shocking. I realize they have seasonal adjustments, but that's ridiculous. So there was a problem, and we got to get to the bottom of it. And but the bottom line is the labor market softened, as Christopher Waller talked about. He went on Bloomberg for 30 minutes to explain this before the meeting, and so kudos to him for knowing what's going on.
Now, you had wrote last week, or perhaps you didn't write it last week, but I had read it to the group last week. Your favorite sectors post this whole tariff deal or the deals with other countries. Do you still like the Mag 7 and LNG, or what else do you like?
I like. I realized the Mag 7 had some good results. Apple was a big surprise. That was the weakest link, and obviously the AI implementers, Microsoft, Meta, were spectacular, but I like to refer to it as a magnificent one. I'm grossly overweight in NVIDIA, and it's over 16% of our portfolios, and I have no intention of selling it. I have a lot of super micro, and I think Plantair announces after the close today, and that might be one of the new Magnificent 7 stocks coming up.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming that you see 2 cuts this year. We just talked about September. I would assume that you also think we're going to get one in December. What do you see for next year then, looking ahead?
Well, it depends on market rates, but market rates should continue to meander lower. So we're in this global interest rate collapse for a very simple reason. There's a demographic problem. The world is shrinking, at least the industrial world is. So Asia has no household formation whatsoever, and it's hard to grow when you lose households. Same thing for most of Europe, except for maybe Spain, which has a lot of immigration. And it's really hard to grow your economy when you're losing households. Now, you can counteract that by immigration, but as we've seen in Britain and France and Germany, they're not able to assimilate their immigrants. Obviously, the EU might have overdone it, at least for France and Germany. So what makes America great is we're still pro-family, at least we are in the South and the Mountain West. We're still creating households. And household formation is very important for economic growth. That's why Utah is the fastest growing state of the country. And then in addition to having normal household formation, we do, have a lot of immigration, and the legal kind, of course. And those people are quickly assimilated. And I don't think Trump's anti-immigration. I think he just wants everybody to be legal and have green cards. So it's going to be very interesting, but we just have a better model than the rest of the world. We're younger. We also have 50 states competing for business, which is very unique among any country. and that onshoring is real. The EU, Japan, and South Korean trade deals was a 1.5 trillion of onshoring, so or investment in America. So we're over 10 trillion now. So it seems to be mostly automotive, semis, and soon to be drugs. That's maybe why Switzerland is so ticked at us right now, is
Mhm.
trying to onshore their drugs, and from Switzerland, Ireland, China, everywhere.
Okay, yeah, real good stuff there. Just flat out here, are tariffs causing inflation? Powell said in his last meeting it could be a one-time bump. What might be offsetting this? What's going on?
Well, first of all, Chairman Powell's not an economist, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And only 14% of the CPI and the inflation is related to imports. And we had goods dumped on us, so that was deflationary. China's had deflation since May of 2022. It's now running at the highest annual rate of 3.6%. So that is deflationary. And then we had the lower energy prices. That was largely deflationary. And economists missed the inflation estimates for 5 straight months. So I do think we'll be fine. I think the dollar is going to strengthen here immensely from here. And just the rally in the dollar will largely offset the tariffs.
Okay, and that's, you kind of touched on it right there. We keep hearing from a pocket that inflation is coming. Inflation is coming. It's coming from the tariffs. Is that true?
It did. It wasn't the first time. It's not this time. I know Howard Lutnick personally. He's a great guy. My kid went to school with his kid. I knew him for some business things too. But he does want to replace the income tax with tariffs. But we are headed to 60 billion a month in tariff revenue.
Mm-hmm.
You saw in June when we had 27 billion a month in tariff revenue, we actually had a budget surplus for the first time since 2017. So I just don't think anybody sees the big picture. When they were reconciling the big beautiful bill, they weren't allowed to use the tariff revenue. And the other reason I think Trump wanted to do, at least especially the 10% baseline tariffs, is we have a huge underground economy in America. He wanted them to pay something. So it was either national sales tax or tariffs. So we're proceeding with the tariff plan. It's not inflationary from what I can see. It is going to create a windfall of not only onshoring, but tax revenue. And so I just think we ought to get with the plan and celebrate it. And it did distort GDP, of course. The imports in the first quarter was a 4.61% drag on GDP. And then the better trade numbers in the second quarter was over a 3% increase, I think 3.17. So, it's confusing how it's distorting GDP, but it's just time to cheer up and be happy. And obviously, President Trump has a lot of opposition in Britain and as well as our American media. So it just, I read that stuff, and it's just scare tactics.
Yeah, and perhaps that's why you've been so spot on here. Okay, you kind of touched on this already a little bit earlier. What do you make of the firing of the BLS lead? Is this a nothing burger? Is this what do you make of this?
Well, it's Trump. I mean, it was a Biden appointee, but he wants to put his own people in. That's what Kevin Hassett just said on the weekend talk shows, and he has the right to do that. So, but I've always been critical of the Labor Department and their seasonal shenanigans. We knew in June something was wrong because a lot of the hiring was teachers, but then teachers get laid off in the summer. So I wasn't surprised by the downward revision, but the May downward revision really surprised me. So, just get rid of the damn seasonal adjustments. When January rolls around, it's like 600,000 jobs. It's ridiculous. So, quit planning for seasonal hiring when everybody shops online. It's I can't fix stupid, okay? And I'm not sure the new appointee of the Labor Department will be able to fix it. But you really, there's something wrong. And, I take Ed Yardini and Shepperson, private economists. I don't see any of the problems that Powell has warned about. And I think Powell got into a bubble. And, the fact that the Fed ignored the economic data is just shocking. And I think that's regrettable. Everybody wants free trade. We're going to have more free trade now because of the tariffs, because the only way you get your reciprocal tariffs knocked down was to basically have free trade. And it just the way Trump negotiates is so uncomfortable. It's hard to while it's going on, it's hard to be not be confused. But the bottom line, he got what he wanted, and the tariffs aren't as bad as we thought, and it's now going to cost 10 trillion of onshoring. So we're going to have 5% GDP growth in the upcoming years.
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly there. It does make people uncomfortable, but perhaps we should just stop the hand wringing and wait and see how this all plays out here. Louis, thanks so much. Thanks for the time. Be well, okay?
Take care.
That is Louis Navalier that is Louis Navalier, founder and chief investment officer of Navalier and Associates. Again, as mentioned, we read his quotes all the time. It was great to hear directly from him today. There you go, folks. I told you we're going to bring you all of that, and we'll go ahead and deliver on that. So really good stuff. Okay, I do want to keep going here with some of the news. How are we doing on time? We're still good. Got to still have another half an hour here before we really start looking at movers. I want to talk a little bit about some more stuff here. We're going to talk a little bit about gold. Citigroup raised its 3-month gold price forecast to $3,500 per ounce from $3,300 on Monday, citing deteriorating U.S. growth and inflation outlook. The bank expanded its expected trading range from $3,300 to $3,600 from $3,100 to $3,500. That's according to Reuters. Spot gold traded at $3,356 per ounce on Monday, while Bitcoin held steady near $114,500. That was up 4.3% over 7 days, with a market cap exceeding $2.27 trillion. U.S. growth and tariff-related inflation concerns are set to remain elevated through the second half of 2025. We just heard a contrarian opinion to that, which, alongside a weaker dollar, are set to drive gold moderately higher to new all-time highs. President Trump imposed steep tariffs last week, ranging from 10 to 41% of imports from dozens of countries, which was effective April 1st. Key levies included the 25% on Indian goods, 35% on Canadian exports, and 50% on Brazilian imports. Trade Representative Jameson Greer indicated these tariffs would likely remain in place rather than be negotiated down. We'll see how that all shakes up. I'm sure we'll be talking about tacos and all of this other stuff going on. July non-farm payrolls rose just 73,000, well below its $110,000 expected number. More concerning, the May and June employment figures were revised down by a combined 258,000 jobs. Just ridiculous, was the quote that we just heard. The largest downward revision since 1950 or in 58 years, 1960 something. I know this article got it wrong here. Markets now price in an 81% probability for a September Federal Reserve rate cut. We just heard we're almost certainly getting it there. I would agree with that. I would think we definitely have to get it in September. Citi estimates gross gold demand has risen over 1/3 since mid-2022, nearly doubling prices by the second quarter of 2025. Gold traditionally thrives in low interest rate environments during political uncertainty. Maybe we'll start making a move back to that. And the Spider Gold Trust, ticker GLD, which we often looked at here, surged 2.24%. Last week. Okay, some more news here on Boeing. And actually, let's start with the Boeing chart here real quick. I know I've been blowing you away with news here. Let's go back to a chart and see where we're at. Remember, we had a really, really nice move recently. In fact, two really nice moves here on Boeing recently. Took out that first longer-term trend line and then rode that other, the more recent trend line, the top of the broadening formation, before pulling back. The pullback caused us to lose the 20, but bounce clean off of the 50-day. So my question here for the group, or what I'm going to be watching here on Boeing, do we return to the bottom end of this formation, or do we retest the downward trend line, or do we actually return and perhaps break out of the broadening formation? Really quickly, that spot price up here, about 236 by the time we get up there. Let's take a look here at some of the Boeing news. Boeing faces a strike as 3,200 defense workers in Missouri and Illinois reject a counteroffer. The Machinists Union, representing workers in Boeing's St. Louis area defense operations, voted on Sunday to reject the company's contract offer, scheduling the work stoppage to begin at midnight Monday, according to an International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers Union. Workers had operated without contract for the past week as negotiations stalled over the work subsidies and benefits. Quote, members have spoken loud and clear for a contract that reflects their skill, dedication, and critical role they play in our nation's defense. That came from Union Representative Tom Bowling via a statement. The work stoppage affects Boeing's military business, which produces advanced fighter jets, including the F-15 and the F/A-18, as well as critical components of the munitions supply chain. Boeing reported stable second quarter performance in its defense segment amid surging Pentagon demand for missiles and weaponry from allied countries. Boeing did not immediately respond to our comment, but I'm sure as we get something, we will continue to update this. The Missouri-Illinois strike remains significantly smaller than Boeing's massive 2024 Pacific Northwest labor dispute, which pulled over 33,000 employees from 737 MAX production lines. That nearly 8-week showdown disrupted the economy's profit powerhouse before workers secured a 38% rise over a 4-year period. Boeing's Defense, Space, and Security Division have shown improvement this year following program overruns and crisis, including Starliner spacecraft issues that stranded NASA astronauts. Thank you, Elon. The division's outlook, brightened with new Pentagon satellite contracts and agreements for the Air Force's next generation fighter programs. Now, we didn't have enough news about Elon. And let's be honest, it's never enough, is it? Especially when it comes to Elon. Elon Musk agrees with Cathie Wood. And I'm curious to hear how you folks feel about this one. Elon Musk agrees with Cathie Wood. Tesla is the largest AI project on Earth amid the robotaxi vision and Samsung's chip deal buzz. So I know we talk about a lot about AI, the tailwinds that it's going to provide, the different opportunities there. Let me know, I guess, just straight off the bat, do you think that Tesla is the largest AI project on Earth? I know there's been kind of a lot of hints dropped about this, some back and forth. Tesla is the world's most ambitious AI endeavor. This is according to ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood, who predicts its autonomous vehicle efforts could generate trillions in revenue. In a June interview on the Diary of a CEO podcast, Wood described Tesla as, quote, the largest AI project on Earth, end quote, a statement that Elon Musk later reposted on X with a one-word affirmation of truth. Wood added, ARK's research shows the ecosystem surrounding autonomous taxi networks could generate between 8 and 10 trillion in global revenue within the next 5 to 10 years. I tell you what, that figure right there, that is incredible. I don't know if we're going to hit that, but that to me, this is a massive shift. There's going to be a ton of opportunity if that's correct. To put that in context, quote, to put that in context, the entire GDP of the world today is 113 trillion. So 10 trillion is going to move the needle, about 10% of the entire GDP of the world. I mean, just incredible numbers here. Well, again, we'll see if it all pans out. Musk, who has long championed full self-driving and robotaxi services, has said he expects autonomous vehicles to have a noticeable effect on GDP growth within the next 2 years. While Texas, good Lord, Ryan. While Tesla's second quarter revenue dropped 12% year over year to 22.5 billion, missing estimates, analysts remain focused on the company's long-term AI bets. In July, Tesla announced a $16.5 billion multi-year partnership with Samsung to manufacture its AI6 chip domestically. That was the onshoring we talked about earlier. The advanced chip is expected to power Tesla's next-generation autonomous systems, including its upcoming robotaxi fleet and Optimus humanoid robot. Samsung already manufactures Tesla's current AI4 chip, while Taiwan Semiconductor is handling the AI5. Analysts said new partnership will give Tesla valuable foundry experience that competitors haven't allowed. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives, in June estimated that Tesla's AI and autonomous driving division alone could be worth $1 trillion, reinforcing investor optimism even as the company navigates revenue headwinds and political scrutiny. So we'll see how this shakes out to Tesla. You guys let me know, do you think it's going to be this big? And if it is this big, obviously Tesla's a fairly obvious player here. I suppose if you wanted to play Waymo through this, Google would be the parent of that. Let me know if you folks have any other thoughts on how this entire segment can be played. First of all, do you agree that Tesla's going to be the king here? And if not, or even if so, I guess, let us know what other plays you think is possible on this. Okay. Another piece of news here. I'm not sure that I've really tied this to a trade yet, but I suppose this is something to watch. Maybe this is in vain with us getting our first Christmas season mention on CNBC. I can't even believe it still, but this is where we're at. Luxury labels lose their luster amid changing vibes. Gucci sales plunged 25% and LVMH disappoints. Last week, Kering disclosed less than expected Q2 2025 performance with a 15% year-over-year drop in sales to 4.27 billion. This falls short of the 3.96 billion euro predicted by LSEG analysts. Gucci, a significant contributor to Kering's overall revenue, reported a 25% decrease in sales for the quarter, amounting to 1.46 billion euro. As per the report, CNBC Francois-Henri Pinault, the CEO of the luxury group, acknowledged the disappointing results, but expressed optimism about the company's ongoing efforts to enhance its performance. Despite the challenging economic and geopolitical landscape, Kering remains committed to executing its strategy for profitable long-term growth. Sales were weaker across all markets, with Japan and Asia Pacific region leading the decline. Bernard Arnault, owner of Louis Vuitton and over 70 other luxury brands, remains optimistic despite a 20% drop in LVMH MC stock this year. According to the Wall Street Journal, Arnault has invested over $1 billion in the company's shares since January. However, investors are growing concerned. LVMH reported disappointing results last week with a 9% drop in sales from its fashion and leather goods division in the second quarter. The company attributed the weak demand for brands like Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior due to their reduced tourist spending. Industry-wide, sales are expected to remain flat this year, marking the second consecutive year of lackluster demand. This is a significant deviation from the norm, as the industry typically grows at twice the rate of global economic growth. Furthermore, Gen Z's spending on luxury goods fell 7% last year, equivalent to $5.7 billion drop. This decline is attributed to negative stories about the industry's supply chain abuses and extreme price markups going viral on social media. I would also throw in there that there are some advertising campaigns from various different brands, I won't single out any, that are, let's just say, not all that popular. That might also be playing into this, although there's no mention of it. The luxury industry is now 50% larger than a decade ago, making growth even more challenging for established brands. Despite these hurdles, new creative designers from major luxury brands like Chanel, Gucci, and Dior are set to unveil fresh collections later this year. Now, the luxury goods market is facing a critical juncture. The industry's growth has traditionally outpaced global economic growth, but recent trends suggest a possible structural shift. The decline in Gen Z spending, driven by concerns over supply chain abuses and extreme price markups, indicates a changing consumer landscape. I would agree with that. The industry's response to these challenges, including the introduction of new collections by major brands, will be crucial in determining its future trajectory. Now, if you folks trade Hermes or LVMH or any of these luxury brands, I'd like to hear about that for a particular trade. I'm interested in any possible trade here. I'm not familiar with those myself, so I'm not going to necessarily make a prediction on any of that. But one thing that I did want to take a look at, that I was reminded of when I was reading the story, was Ferrari. Okay, if we look at ticker race here, you notice that we have a humongous pullback here, and that's because on Thursday in the morning, we released earnings here for Ferrari, and the stock got absolutely shellacked. So again, our earnings came out here. It was a beat. 270 beat the 239 estimate. The sales of 2.03 billion beat the 1.82 billion. So folks are still loading up on their new Ferraris. But here's what the chart looks like. And as you can probably guess simply by glancing at the Ferrari chart, ticker RACE, RECE, you'll notice that, hey, we seem to be coming into a supply area, don't we? Sure seems like this, what do we got here? 425 area. I would even extend that a little bit. I would almost say this 415 to 425 area marks a pretty good support here for Ferrari. We did kind of bounce off of the top end of that range, or at least we're looking like let me see where we're at. 236 here today. So it does look like we bounced off the top end of this range on Friday. Our sell-off kind of stopped on Thursday right around here. Friday, we had kind of a sideways day. So going back to the daily chart here, what do we think on Ferrari? Do we think we have a potential move back to test this 500-day? Last time we were down there was around the Liberation Day unwind. Do we retest this level? Do we hold 415 to 425? And then ultimately, does that set up a potential move higher to recapture the 200 and some of the other moving averages on its way to closing this gap up to near $500 so per share? So I'm just curious as to where some of the trades are. I'm open to any ideas on this. I have no positions myself, so I'm going to be going into this with a fresh eye here. I will say that Ferrari, just like the cars, the trade is just as fast, if not faster. Ferrari's option chain here, it has some, but it's not really the most voluminous option chain, and the stock price is fairly expensive on its own. So this is one of those where I feel like we need to really make sure we're doing the right thing before we go ahead and take this on. Let me know if you have anything. Let me know if you have anything here on Ferrari. Producer, I'd like to hear from you. Zach McCracken says Ferrari killed Charles Leclerc on Sunday. So I actually didn't watch the race. I was preparing for my golf round on Sunday, and I didn't see the end of it. Producer, though, said Ferrari can break people. So anyway, let me know. Let me know if you have a trade on any of these luxury companies, Ferrari or otherwise. I'm interested to hear how you folks are attacking that. Last piece of news here, and then we'll start taking a look at charts that y'all folks want to look at. Berkshire Hathaway faces a $3.8 billion loss tied to the Kraft Heinz stake. Now, this has a warm spot in my heart because this was a really good trade that I made. I actually bought Kraft calls on my birthday. And just a couple, I think it was like a month later, maybe a month and a half later, I woke up in the morning and Kraft was merging with Heinz. And my calls were popping, closed that trade for like 10K, one of my biggest trades of my life at the time. And I'll always remember that. I'll always remember that. So when I was going through the news here today, this stuck out like a sore thumb. Berkshire Hathaway has reported a $3 billion impairment on its stake in Kraft Heinz, marking a significant setback for the billionaire investor. Berkshire Hathaway has now reduced its carrying value of Kraft Heinz investment to $8.4 billion, a significant drop from over $17 billion at the end of 2017. This marks a rare disappointment for Buffett, who played a key role in the merger of Kraft and Heinz about a decade ago. I'm going to stop here because we often say, everyone that messes around with stocks, and when I say messes around, just trades, anyone that's involved in stocks, no matter how good of a trader you are, you will always take losses. There will always be losses somewhere on your books, somewhere. And so perhaps the greatest investor of all time, we are outlining a instance here where an investment or a trade or whatever you want to call it just simply went south. Doesn't really seem like Warren Buffett is hurting, does it? So it just goes to show you that if you diversify your risk, if you play things correctly here and do not allow yourself to get wiped out by one single bad investment, you can stomach these, right? You can stomach these and still make money, still protect your financial future. I think this is an important lesson that we all need to remember. The stock of the packaged food giant has plummeted 62% since the merger, while the S&P has surged 202%. Not a divergence that you want to see. Berkshire's Kraft Heinz stake is now marked at fair value as of the end of June. The write-down was overdue. Kyle Sanders, an analyst at Edward Jones, told us. So Kraft Heinz is currently considering a spin-off of part of its business as it grapples with challenges such as inflation and a shift in consumer preference toward healthier alternatives. The recent developments indicate a shift in Berkshire's relationship with Kraft Heinz. In May, Kraft Heinz announced that Berkshire gave up sales of its packaged food companies gave up seats on the board, of the packaged food company's board. The write-down disclosed Saturday in a regulatory filing was driven in part by sustained decline in fair value. This could potentially signal a new strategic move by Berkshire to distance itself from the underperforming packaged food company. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to the charts here. Let's go ahead and welcome on 13. 13, how was your weekend, dude?
Oh, it was fine. Tried to get as much done as I could around the house. I had a bunch of plans to do a whole slew of things. Got a lot of them done, so happy about that. Ready to come back here and tackle this week. How about you?
I'm ready for the same thing. It's always good to be productive on the weekend and all that. But we got a big week 13. We got a big week of earnings. And on a personal note, this is my last full week before I have 2 truncated weeks due to some time off. So really looking forward to putting that all in here and making sure I'm as prepared as possible. So, all right, you want to run the movers out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and put charts from the group. Perfect. That's what I was hoping you would say. Let's start here with the movers, and we'll start with PBM. Looks like several of you are already on this here today. PBM, this is Syossense Biomedical. I think we talked about this last week here. Yep, it sure did. So this was actually one of the plays here from Thursday that spent all day after the open selling off, or after those first couple of halts. Had a little bit of that continuation on Friday. Now today we popped, but we've bled a lot of it back. We're holding higher here by 92%, but just understand what some of the action was here. Reported Thursday, just a reminder of that news there. Syossense Biomedical shares are trading higher after the company announced it, along with Sci Labs, achieved a breakthrough in GMP-aligned high-purity ibogaine production. So it looks like we just have a continuation here on this theme. Quick reminder with some of the stats on this: 1.83% of the float shorted, and that comes on 1 day to cover. That 1 day to cover comes on 736,000 shares of volume. Today we traded 13 million, so we're way above that. The key takeaway from this one, though, float is a micro float, right? Under 1 million shares here at 704,000. So 13, do we see any type of revival here for PBM, or is this buyer beware? Because it looks like we were already struggled with the VWAP today.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to turn back up and recapture the VWAP right now. We do have a trend line here that it is has broken over, so there is a chance here we might see this get going again. But nothing's going to be tradable here for me on this one unless we start trading over VWAP again.
Yeah,
I need to see that recapture first. We do have some support areas from when we were getting the price action last Thursday. $4 is an area, as is $4.60. But after VWAP, I would just lean on the levels we were getting from the pre-market here. So the highs are going to be 545 and 650 to 680. The high that we initially had. So that's what I'd be looking at here if we can recapture VWAP. Otherwise, this may not give enough good trades because we already saw what happened last Thursday.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's a really clean breakdown here. Given what we've seen here, maybe wait for it to show you it's going to have some strength instead of just kind of hoping that it has some strength. Good stuff there, 13. All right, moving on here. Next is going to be COM. This is ticker COMM, Charlie, Oscar, Mike. Amphenol and CommScope shares are trading higher after Amphenol announced it will acquire CommScope for $10.5 billion. But if I recall correctly here,
It's
CommScope to sell its connectivity and cable solutions segment to Amphenol Corporation for $10.5 billion. So unlike some of these takeovers, it does not appear that this is the entire thing being bought out. And as a result, we're actually still seeing some movement here on the chart. Stocks holding higher here by about 78.4%. In addition to that, we also had earnings. So boy, they're just going to drop all of their news here today. Adjusted EPS of 44 cents beat the 23-cent estimate, and sales of 1.39 billion beat the 1.26 billion here. You can see this is popping, Com. We closed at about $7 here. We were about a double earlier, although we've backed off the highs. And also worth noting here this morning, we've actually had two legs up. We had that initial impulse move, we had a corrective move, and a little bit of sideways before doing our next impulse move, which set some new highs. So I guess my question is, are we kind of bull flagging up here? Looking at the short interest tab, 7.44% of the float shorted with 2.99 days to cover. The average volume for this stock is about 5.5 million. Today, we've traded 14.5 million. The float here, super thick, the opposite of the last stock that we just took a look at, 189 million shares in the float. So 13, what do you see here today? And also keep in mind, it does say that we have the conference call scheduled for after hours today. I'm not sure if they've done that yet or moved it up, but you might hear more. That conference call takes place after hours.
Yeah, so this company's, in the data center space. It has several different segments, one of which they are selling. That segment is the connectivity and cable solutions segment. They also have networking, intelligence, cellular, and security solutions, network access solutions as well. So they have different business segments that are operating here, and they're just selling one of them. Now, your point about the float here being heavier. What is concerning about this is that we might not see the outsized quick moves that we typically get when they are smaller floats. So this could move a lot more sluggish to the upside and to the downside throughout the day. So if you have the patience, this might take some time to get to some of the price targets we're looking for, or to some of the levels we want to see. But just keep that in mind as we're trading this one. We could see some big movement initially, but as the day goes on, I expect that volume to really fall out and make this harder to trade. No financial.
And I would really quickly there, I would completely agree with you. If we continue to see this volume contract, those moves are going to be lower and that's harder to take advantage of. And it's really going to place a profound importance on your entry. Otherwise, you might not even get a trade out of that. So good stuff there, team.
And no financial issues. They're selling this and they're making even more money. They already had a ton of money on the books. But if you look at a daily chart on this, we did double top. So I don't know if we're just seeing a brief bounce here before we go lower. But keep in mind that the top end of the range here was 868. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't have the new data here. We were double topping. Now we completely obliterated that. Sorry.
All
we
good.
are coming up. Okay, we've already passed that too. So let's see here. We're going to. I could see 1830 as being another upside level. It looks like 16 is another one as well. I think 16 would be the earlier and probably better one to watch for. We're kind of in this consolidation area from about 1450 to 16, and then it lightens up a little bit. So let's just look at 14. And I like 15 as well. 14 and 15. We're at 14 right now. I'd say 15 would probably be the next area we should keep our eye on ahead of 16.
Okay. Good stuff there on Com. I'm going to keep rolling through this list here. Next is going to be VERB, and this is, again, one that we have traded a bunch in the past. I recognize this ticker. I know we've traded this. Stock was about $9, $10 on Friday. We did pop as high as 22 today, although we've backed off about 7 points from that spot. VERB Technology announces pricing of an upsized and oversubscribed $558 million private placement of 58.7 million shares of stock to launch its first public treasury of Toncoin. Look, I don't even know what coin this is. Day trader, I go to you. How is this altcoin? How is TON Treasury? TON? How does this trade? In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and add this to the altcoin treasury watch list. Yeah. Remember, one of the things that we've been saying recently, I don't know if this is how it's going to play out here, but some of these treasury pieces of news that we get, they end up not making great catalysts to trade in the regular session. And so the first thing to watch here is, do we actually just give up a lot of this gain here? 13, real quick, short interest on this one, 3.27%. That comes on 2.14 days to cover. And that comes on an average volume of 56,000 shares. So pretty much nothing unless this thing is in the news. When it is in the news, traded 5 million shares prior to the open here. Float of 1.3 million. 13, what do you think here? Ticker VERB.
I think we have another one of these treasury movers on our hands where we might see some good movement here, not just in one day, but it could be more closer to what we saw with BMNR and SBET. I'm not saying that we're going to see exactly that, but
sure.
The thing that I'm leaning more towards that side on is because this is an oversubscribed private placement, meaning there's more demand than there are shares available for that private placement. So I feel like some of that's going to carry over into trading. Now we have come down quite a bit, down to about where the the supply area was. I'm sorry, the demand area was from the after hours going into the pre-market. So as long as that area holds up, we could see this turnaround. We could see this turnaround before we even make it into the regular session. But we have come down pretty significantly off the high of 22.49. But I feel like if we can just hold this demand zone here, or at least some of the highs, we could see a turnaround here. I feel like this could end up having legs once this turns around.
Okay.
Because that oversubscribed private placement is what I'd be leaning on for on that sentiment. So it does have a pretty low float. My read here was 1.29 million. My broker saying 770,000. So it's very low float. This thing could move quite quickly, but I am looking for it to turn around because I feel like that private placement, I don't think this is done.
Okay. Producer here, Tan, is currently the 25th biggest coin in the world by order of market cap. So, okay. And Rob reminding us, VERB is the word. Mm-hmm. We'll see if this is not only the word, but perhaps the trade here today. Really good breakdown there, 13, as per usual. Next here is going to be ticker SCS. That is Sierra, Charlie Sierra. That is Steelcase.
Take over.
Steelcase shares are trading higher after HNI announced it will acquire the company for $2.2 billion. Now, I think I was looking at this earlier, and I think that this comes out to about $18 a share. Let me see if it...
Stock and cash.
Stock and cash. Yeah, I think this comes out to about $18 a share. We're currently at 15. So there's a little bit of difference in there. Me personally, 13, I'm not interested in that. To me, this is a takeover and a no touch, as we'll look somewhere else. But just in case, we'll go through this real fast. 2.31% of the float shorted, and that comes on 1.99 days to cover. Comes on an average volume of just shy of 1 million shares. Today, we've traded 1.2 million. Float is 83 million. So what do you think here? Is this just a pass?
Yeah, I didn't look at this because I just saw what they were. I didn't even want to calculate what the actual share price might be because that would have taken time away from looking at these other ones. So I just
no problem.
Wrote it off as a takeover. There's other things I think we can trade that are.
Yeah, we definitely need to move to the next two here at minimum. I also want to mention open there, and I'm sure we're definitely going to take a look at Coinbase. So sit tight, folks. We got plenty of time here before we start. Izzy here yelling at everybody. Good morning, Izzy. Good morning with the early morning volume from Izzy here. SCS is Grand Rapids headquartered. So pretty awesome. Izzy, let me know how the card show was this weekend. Just curious here. Now, let's move on to the next stock. Next stock here is going to be Sologenics. This is one that we've seen a whole bunch. I feel like we've looked at this. Oh, man. Let me load it back up here. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. We've looked at this one a number of times. We've traded this one, and guess what? Literally, as we speak, volume is surging into this, and higher we go. New highs here in the pre-market. Sologenics shares are trading higher after the company highlighted its High-Bright Phase 3 trial. You can see it right here, ripping to the highs. 420 looks to be stopping this or thereabouts. Quick look in on the short interest here. 8.9% of the float shorted here. That comes on 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 6.9 million shares. Today we've traded almost 12 million shares. Floats 3.25 million shares. What do you think here on SNGX?
Unfortunately, I didn't look at this one this morning, even though we have traded this before. We'd have to see all the things they were highlighting in their phase 3 trial. I don't know if this is the end of their phase 3 trial, or if they met their primary endpoints. Just looking through some summaries here, it seems that this did get a fast track designation from the FDA. And U.S. and European Union orphan drug designations. So this could get to market fairly quickly, and with little with a lot less resistance than other drugs have to, fewer steps that they have to take to get to market. So I don't have a whole lot on this one, unfortunately. I didn't look at this one. It's just now starting to go. So I think I'd lean on some of the technical levels, since I wasn't able to cover this one. Let's look and see what we got here.
And real quickly here, I think, I'm not a medical expert here, but I'm fairly certain that this is a new piece of news, because last week on Thursday, we got news about the phase 2 showing conceptually good news, and that's for SGX 945. Today's news is about Hybrid. So I think this is another product in the portfolio here, just to avoid some of that confusion, because I know we talked about this recently. But go on here, 13. What do you got?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the chart here, and yeah, you're right. This did have news on Thursday, but it was already after hours, so that carried over to Friday. And Friday we got all the way up to 538. Here we are trying to hold at 4 this morning. Looks like we're trading beneath the 200 EM. Sorry, no, we're not. I just don't have that print unless it's an actual, regular session. We hit a high of 427 in the pre-market here. We're trading above VWAP. So as long as we continue to hold that, we may end up seeing this go higher. I would be careful with this, though, because if you look and see what happened on Friday, could end up getting something very similar here today too. We open, we pop up, and come right back in. But let's watch. I would just be careful and just keep that in mind. I don't think that this isn't going to provide any trades, but I don't think I'd be wanting to jump on it right at the open here. I think I'd wait for it to come in.
Okay, now 450 definitely looks like an upside level from Thursday's action there, and maybe 537 if it really gets going. To the downside here, I think 215 is reasonable, and I also think 241 is reasonable. So I know we're in the middle of a spike here. We'll see what happens when this kind of comes back in. I agree with you. I don't think this is a move to chase here. Really good breakdown here. SNGX. I'll try not to screw that ticker up here today. Okay, next here is going to be BLDE, and I know several of you are already on this one. This is part of a theme that we discuss here on the regular, as they say. This has to do with the eVTOL theme. Blade shares are trading higher after the company announced the sale of its passenger division to Joby Aviation. Joby has been a big mover for us recently. Now it looks like the potential potential acquisition of part of this division of Blade is causing Blade to spike here today. Let me just see here real quick if there's anything else in this news. The reason I'm mentioning that, don't forget, Blade, BLDE, they report earnings tomorrow. So figure if you're going to trade this here today, know that they're going to report earnings tomorrow. Make sure that you have a plan for this going into that, so that you're not kind of figuring it out later on. And I believe Joby also reports later this week. Let me take a look here real fast. Let me change this to Joby. Joby reports in 2 days. So Wednesday after the market closes, you're going to get this company to report. So just know that there's going to be some news right around the corner here. Great that they're coming with some news prior to this here today. 13, I'm going to do a quick check around the horn here on Blade. 5.25% of the float shorted with 5 days to cover. Now that 5 days to cover only comes on 725,000 shares of average volume, because Blade is not as popular as the Joby and the Archer that have much higher average volumes. Today we've traded 2.2 million. The float here is 53 million, so still pretty thick. What do you think, 13? BLDE.
So Blade's a more like a helicopter business. So when they're acquiring their passenger business, or the passenger division, I haven't read into this enough, so I'm not exactly sure what that entails. But it seems like it's more operations than anything else. Just kind of taking the helicopter element out and putting Joby's aircraft in, but you still have the same operation. That's how it reads to me. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know all the details about this, but this is a step in the right direction for Joby to get some revenue going as soon as their aircraft is certified to be used commercially. So that's really what I'm getting out of this. Looking at the chart here, it looks like we are coming up to a bit of a resistance area. Are we trading Blade or are we trading Joby on this? By the way,
so yeah, it's a good point. I mean, here's the thing: Blade's popping here, right? Blade up 29%. But here's the thing about that 13. Here's Joby. Joby's actually up 6%. We're above Friday's highs, and we have more familiarity with this ticker. So I think you're actually bringing up an interesting point. Also, Joby trades on much higher volume than Blade does. So you might actually be able to get better trades on this name simply because of the volume flow. But I mean, let me know. What do you think here? Would you rather trade on Joby or Blade?
Well, I'm looking at Blade's chart, and it seems like at about 5 to 515, there's resistance, and it's been that way for over a year now. Almost, I think we're going on 2 years almost now. So this is going to be an interesting spot to see what Blade ends up doing at 5 to 515. Joby, on the other hand, and Archer for that matter, Archer reports a week from today. I see more areas of support than I do resistance. There's we have the 1850 level, and then I think after that with Joby, we're in blue sky territory again. So this could go on a run. I don't know how much is going to be left in the battery. But if this does end up coming back in, that 20-day estimate certainly looks like a pretty good support area. That's going to be at 1576. And I also like that 16 level as well. So that's what I'd be looking at for support, and then resistance 1850. That's about all I've got for a joke.
Okay. All right. Well, good breakdown there. We'll see if any of these set up. Okay. Was there anything else that you covered on your list that we should get to?
No.
Nope. Okay. Then the only thing I want to mention here is Open. This was from the Dork trade, the high short interest trade. This thing went to 5. All of that stuff. This actually had a pretty decent day on Friday and actually had another impulse move here today. Now, we've had kind of a range-bound pre-market, but this actually sets up pretty nicely if we break 250 to the upside or perhaps 235 to the downside. You might have continuation here in Open. I just wanted to mention this. If we take a look at the volume here, it's traded 22 million shares already here today. So it's not as if this thing is, just up on small volume. 22 million shares is a lot. So I don't know if this is going to run here again today, but it did kind of reverse on Friday and has a little bit of continuation in the pre-market here today. And then I also just casually wanted to mention W here because it's on the movers list. This is Wayfair. Wayfair shares are trading higher following better than expected Q2 financial results. Stock's actually up 12.5%, which is notable because it's been a lot of the option sellers that have won this print. This one here, an option buyer winning this print. So, okay, let's get to coin. I know Wes wanted to take a look at coin earlier. I think that's a great idea. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. We'll break that down, and then we'll take any other stocks that you folks want to look at. Got 18 minutes until we open here, so we should have plenty of time. Nice to see the second shift here. Jay, welcome back. Jay, you'll be happy to know I am still working on the box of balls that you gave. I have a ton of them left, and judging by how I've been playing this summer, I am not even going to go through these this year. I'm getting better. I'm losing less, and thanks for sending those over. I feel like I'm doing really good. Okay, let's take a look here at coin. Sorry about the digression there, but I've been wanting to mention that. All right, let's take a look at coin here. First of all, here's your chart. Here's your daily chart. So I believe we drew, I think you gave me the instructions on drawing this broadening formation, if I'm not mistaken. It's really been in play here. We peaked above that. We came back in. We've lost the 20. Now today, we've lost the 20 and we lost the 50. I beg your pardon. Now today, we are not far away from the 50. So big time pullback here. My question here is, do we recapture this at all, right? We're still under the 50-day. We've had, one close under it. Maybe we start to recapture it here today. There's obviously a gap above there. But you do have some news here today. Let's go through it real quick. Number one, Compass Point downgrades Coinbase to sell and lowered the price target to 248. So some big movement there. And then also, let's see what else we had here. CEO Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, defends the UK ad ban, says, if you can't say it, then there must be a kernel of truth to it. I don't think that's actually playing into this. The other piece of news here, I think was that it? Yeah, I'm not sure what's really kind of affecting this, I guess, outside of the downgrade here. And remember, this is not just a price target adjustment. This is actually a straight up downgrade of the stock. Let's take a quick look here real quick at, that doesn't make any sense. Let's take a quick look at some other analyst ratings here. 242 going to be your street low on recently. Barclays had this at equal weight at 352, so that price target's still above where we're at. And then we had several here: Rosenblatt, Canaccord, Rosenblatt, Canaccord, Needham, and Jefferies, all above 400. Citigroup above 500. So Coinbase here. What do you think, 13? What does the chart tell you here?
Well, my level I was looking at for this earnings print, since we were having a hard time recapturing the 20 prior to it, was going to be 350. We have since blown past that, and the next level that I see where there could be some support is down at 280. You might get some help around 3. There was a little bit of an area from about $300 to where we were bottoming on Friday, about 310, 315. You might see some movement around there before I think we head lower. But to your point about recapturing the 50-day SMA, I need to see some closes, daily closes above that. So we could end up, trading above it today, but toward the end of the day, we end up, going back beneath it and closing under it. I could see a scenario where we do a lot of the similar price action where we prior to earnings, where the 20-day SMA was having several candles try to go back above it to no avail, and then it went lower. We could end up seeing that here again with the 50. So this is something I'm going to be watching for. But it's got a pretty bearish looking formation since we topped out here. So I would anticipate there's to be some lower prints, and I think 300, 315 is going to be one of my earlier ones. But I think this goes closer to 280.
Okay, 280 here. And I think that you might have already mentioned this. I apologize, but I believe this 278.15 line marks a pretty good potential support. That is a stone's throw from 280. So good stuff there on that. Good morning, Brad. Good morning, Wiss, FH, and Ross. Nice to see all you folks here today. What was that? Oh, you say good morning?
That's a good morning, everybody.
Yep, my bad. All right, Jay here saying, coin, poor earnings, so I have no interest. Now, Jay, this is a really good point, right? Because you've been trying to focus on some of the leaders and some of the folks that have been winning from earnings, as they often have been giving better trading action. But my question to you is, what would it take for this to kind of turn around? Are you simply waiting for the next earnings print? Does it have to be weak enough, and then all of a sudden maybe it's attractive again? I mean, Coinbase here flirting with a 36 RSI reading. Maybe this gets overbought. Let me know, what would cause you to change your mind there, Jay? Would a recapture of any of these levels help? Would moving and pressing that gap, would that help at all? Just out of curiosity. Good morning, James. Great to see you again as well.
It seems like just more people need to trade crypto, because I think that's what the big problem was, is that they just didn't have enough revenue from transactions. I mean, I didn't read through the report, but that's what kind of stands out here to me. So if anybody's following this more closely, let me know if that's what you're seeing here. But it just seems like they're just not getting enough transactional revenue. They need more crypto traded.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there, folks. Let's do Amazon next. I've got Amazon, AMD, and Lyft coming next here. We should easily be able to get through that. We're going to move to Amazon next. That's ticker AMZN. Here's a look at Amazon, and we have a very similar setup to Coinbase, shockingly enough. We have a big move down, and I believe that was from their earnings, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. We lost the 50-day. We did not quite test that 200-day. And maybe today we're looking to recapture it. So if we take a look inside here, we were unable in the pre-market so far to get above Friday's intraday high. That double top, that 5-minute double top is right there around 220. I do think 220 today is going to be a key level on that. We have the 217.88 is that 50-day, and our current price is 217.20. So we are right there. As 13 mentioned earlier, we want to see some closes. We don't necessarily just want to see this pop above. We want to see some closes above that area. Have a gap there then. Top end of that wick gap from 220.5 all the way up to 233. And we do have our 20-day about smack dab in the middle there at 226. So 13, what do you think of the Amazon chart here?
I think there could be some lower prints. I know that tariffs are kind of affecting this negatively, and Bezos has been selling a lot. He sold a lot in June.
Here, let's take a look at that again, because we've been talking a lot about Jeff Bezos' sells here. Here you go.
I'm going to need to make it so that it's a little bit. Oh, yeah, you got it there. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I wanted to try and resize this. So there we go. Now we can see everything. All right, so here you go. Jeff Bezos from, this is what, July 25th to July 8th. So a lot of selling there in July. He did this before, right? This was back in, yeah, he had more sales down here. This was at the end of last year. And I think, wasn't there some in February too? It was a different director. It wasn't Bezos in February. It was a different one. Okay. So anyway, your point well made here. Bezos has been selling a ton. What do you think on Amazon?
I think I need to see that 200-day SMA hold up. Now, I know that we already tried, we opened once and tried to recapture the 50. That didn't happen. So we need to see that recaptured in order for this to turn around and go up. But as we've been saying for a good portion of time since we had the Liberation Day unwind, as soon as some of these start closing beneath their 20-day SMAs, you may see these all kind of come back in. I think that's what we're starting to see here. Loss of the 20-day SMA, unable to recapture. Same thing with the 50. This kind of looks like it could end up going lower. So we'll just end up seeing what we get, over the past over the next few days, if this can recapture the 50 or not. But that 200-day SMA is going to be some pretty big support there. And if we don't hold there, then and we start drifting towards 200. There's a small gap that can be filled beneath 200 from about 198 to about 194. So a small gap on the way to the downside if we lose the 200-day SMA. Don't want to get into different levels to the downside, because I don't think we're going to shoot right down.
Sure.
But the next two things I'm watching for is what happens with the 50-day SMA, what happens with the 200-day SMA. So whichever ones get broken, I think that's the direction we go.
Okay. Real quickly here, just some more context around those Bezos insider selling. I'm doing some napkin math in my head, so excuse me if I'm off by a little bit, but it does look like he's selling about 20 million shares over the course of July, 20 million shares. He still has, after all of that, 883 million shares of this stock. So yes, he's been selling a ton. Let's put it in context. He has an absolute ton of stock left to go. I know you're making some jokes about maybe his family members spending his money.
No, it's the honeymoon, like Joseph Snow was saying. It's, I was talking about that too. Like, well, everybody was like, whoa, look at the honeymoon, the wedding. He's over here just kind of slinging shares, trying to pay for all this.
I just got to say, I can't even fathom what those levels of money are, so I can't make any inferences off of what he's doing. I think I'll just stay away from that. Okay, let's keep moving on here. I know we want to get to a couple other stocks. AMD, this has been a recent one, recent huge winner for our group. We started to pull back a little bit, so I suspect what everybody is asking here is there more downside to the pullback, or might we resume the bull trend? I'm just going to start here. In a perfect world for me, AMD comes in and tests 160. Test that 20-day, hold that 20-day. It was a former resistance area, should now be a former support area. We also have a high volume node there on the daily chart. Hold that area, and this thing sets up for some more upside. So this is what I would want to happen. No position on this. And of course, we report tomorrow. All right. So earnings tomorrow on this name after hours. That might have to play into all of that. Stocks up 2.2% here this morning. I don't really think we had any huge news here. This is just moving with the regular market. 13, what do you think on AMD?
Yeah, this has been on a great run too, and it could continue. And I think on days when we see tech, kind of sell off and pull back, I don't think we should worry too much about that because tech's been hot, and
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of diversification into other really beaten up sectors as tech continues to go up. So, like I said with some of these other names, we need to see a loss of the 20-day SMA in order for some more downside to be viewed in the future, and I haven't seen that yet. So this could continue to go higher. I like that 160 area. That's about where the 20-day SMA is. So as long as we hold up there, I think we could still continue to go higher. I've had I've mentioned as this is going up, different areas where I would expect some pullbacks to happen. We've got them already, and that's fine too. If we get some pullbacks that take the RSI to a less overbought level, then we just are setting up to grind higher. That's fine. We can continue to do that. I'm okay with it. But just watch for one of these when that 20-day SMA is we start getting closed underneath that, because I think that's going to be the signal for a lot of these names that have run. That when the downside is about to happen. So just keep that, keep that moving average on your radar.
Okay, really good stuff there. AMD. Next is going to be Lyft. We're going to do this for Izzy. Izzy telling us that we also have news here on Lyft today. I'm going to start with the daily chart, then we're going to look inside, then we're going to look at the news, and then we'll come back to the daily chart here. Hold on, 13. We're right in this triangle. This triangle has been made up from higher lows and lower highs, and it really kind of converges right here. What is the midpoint of that? About 15.5. We're currently sitting here at 14.15, so we actually popped above the 200-day. Can we get a close on that? I don't know. Earnings in 2 days, so Wednesday after hours here. Now let's take a look. Lyft partners with Baidu to deploy autonomous rides across Europe. So here we go. This is kind of more in the autonomous ride sharing sector, I guess we would say. 13, you're cheesing over there already. What do you think here on Lyft?
I was just making a noise because I saw the trend lines, and then you said, hold on, and you started drawing them. So I was like, okay, he's got
I already had him drawn.
Okay, then you're fine. I'm just seeing some compression here. This trading up to, where does this go? This could probably go up to about 1675 before we run into some resistance. I would expect this to continue trying to, kind of trading around in this triangle until we actually get some kind of a piece of news that breaks us out of there. Maybe it's earnings in a couple of days on Wednesday. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it takes us out of this triangle and lower. I don't know. With the RSI at about 41.5 right now, we're kind of in a normalized spot here. It could go either direction, really. This depends on how good those earnings are, because we're up 4% now off that news. I would have thought that it would have taken it a little bit higher, but I guess it's not super great news, but it's still good news nonetheless. So
Okay.
I would just wait and see what we end up where we end up going with this. I still think we could end up consolidating even more than this.
Okay, real quick, it is worth noting we did not quite fill this gap. So I know this moved down. It looked like we were going to fill this gap back from May. I believe, I can't remember what that was. It looked like we were going to fill this gap. We didn't quite get there. So part of me thinks that if we really cannot close above this 200-day, we're probably going to roll over and fill that gap. If we do close above this 200-day on the back of this news here, maybe that sets up for a potential earnings surprise higher. So really good stuff on Lyft. And today, Izzy, I'd like to turn the tables on you. What's your plan for Lyft here? We just told you about the news. We told you about the chart. How are you looking at this today? What's up, 13?
I was just going to also mention that one of the earlier areas of resistance I'm seeing this morning could be at about 1475.
Okay.
That's not too far away from where we're at now. So let's see what we end up getting out of the gate here if we end up rising to that level.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff. And then there was someone here. Oh, it was okay. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try your first name. If I get this wrong, I'm sorry, but please correct me because I want to learn this name. Ajinka, I think is how you pronounce this. Asking what's up with Tesla. Good question here. Let me show you. Tesla's moving higher here by 2.12%. Tesla shares trading higher on the announcement that the company has approved Elon Musk's share and compensation package. So we talked about this before, the last time that this came up. We talked about this compensation package. Tesla's trading up by $6. Basically, what it's doing right now is it's defending that $300 round level. Also worth noting that your 100-day, which has supported the stock recently and might be supporting it again, that's just a smidge below at about 298. So we're pushing up $6 and change, but we're pushing up from an area that we're already trying to defend here. 13, you said, wow, what do you got on Tesla?
Well, was this the same compensation package that has been trying to get approved and has had a judge stand in the way of it? I mean, that's what I need to know first.
I think they changed it, though. I think they changed a little bit here. They were talking about this on CNBC, but again, this morning. But again, I was doing my prep for today, so I did not focus on it. There were some details on this.
Okay. I'm only asking because I remember back during that time, there was a real fear that Musk would be leaving the company if he wasn't going to be compensated as per what the agreement was. So I think that with this compensation package, well, getting approved hasn't hit his bank account, but with it getting approved, I think that may give some investor confidence that Elon Musk isn't going anywhere. So I think
so real quick. So that's a really good point that you're bringing up. Members of the special committee and the board of directors in a letter to shareholders said, quote, "We are confident that this award will incentivize Elon to remain at Tesla." I think you're spot on with that. Pete here saying it was about 1/3 the original package.
All right. And we are open. Thank you, Samel. We got so taken back by the Tesla conversation that we weren't paying attention to the bell.
Hey, I wanted to fit it in. I wanted to fit it in. We got asked nicely by our viewers here on all of those. So, okay, good stuff here.
All right, TQQQ is already on the rise. Looks like
PBM, here we go.
Looks like PBM is dropping out of the gate here, having a hard time with the 65 EMA. COMM. This is the I think this is the heavier one that we were talking about earlier. That's getting part of their business bought out. That's got a high in the pre-market of 1430. It looks like it's trying to move up there, but remember we were talking about how this one may not move as quickly because of how large the float is. So keep that in mind. VERB making its way up to VWAP. This could end up getting going here. It looks a little spready as well, so be careful. It's looking like 25 to 30 cent spreads here in this one.
And careful on Open, by the way. We just talked about this. Open giving back almost all of its pre-market move here. In fact, it did give up all of its pre-market move. We're now working on some of the move up from the after hours last week. Open straight down out of the gate here today.
Yeah, Lyft looks like that dropped down to close to the 65 EMA and then reverse. So back up towards the VWAP now. And then SNGX, that's also coming down out of the open here after running in the up in the pre-market. There we are. Those are the ones we were looking at this morning, and that's what they're doing. Coin getting hammered down to it looks like it was just under 315 a moment ago, filling the pre-market gap. Is what it looks like it happened there in Coin. See that there?
Yep.
That's what just happened there.
You're exactly right. And again, we'll see what the support level is here for Coin, where that stops selling off. I'm noticing Joby here, this taking off, if you will, right out of the open. Blade was doing something similar. Let's see how that ended up resolving here. Okay, so Blade actually looked like it was going to try to pop there initially. It's going to test VWAP here. Unsure if Blade goes here or breaks down. Joby straight up out of the gate.
Yeah, Archer not up on that news. So no real relationship trade here happening with Archer and Joby.
AEO, American Eagle, continuing on the Sydney Sweeney trade
Nice.
here. It looks like 1150 is going to be your near-term resistance. The only thing new that I know about this whole thing that's going on here, apparently that ad is being played in Times Square now. So I know that there was a little bit of going back and forth with people that were angry. American Eagle giving double birds to all of those people that are angry about it. All right, let's take a look here. BTBD. God, I almost messed that up. That had a huge pullback in the pre-market. We've now pumped right out of the gate, cleared out that VWAP. We're trying to go higher here. I would watch 3 and 325. I think, 325, that pre-market high. Yeah.
PBM just got a volume spike that pushed it over VWAP. So this might get a little bit. This is the one with the ibogaine production. This might halt here. We'll see if it does in just a moment.
See if it can get right through VWAP. I got it at 494. We basically tested that.
Yeah, no, it looks like they're continuing to move this. If this continues to move up here, I see the next area of resistance at about 525.
Okay. All right, real quickly, several of you are mentioning that Ondas had news here today. It did, and it was up a little bit in the pre-market. We'll go through that here real quick for you. Ondas up about just shy of 5% here, up 4.77%. Here you go. Ondas successfully completes an initial government-led counter-drone pilot program in Europe and Asia, paving the way for long-term homeland security deployments. So this is good news. But again, I want to reiterate, because we've been watching the stock for a long time, and I'm really sensitive to people getting hurt chasing news on a stock that loves to pull back after it pumps from that piece of news. This is great, and this is definitely what we want. But all they're telling you here is a pilot program. Will this turn into orders, and how many orders does this turn into? That, to me, is the key question, and it's left unanswered by that. Ondas completes pilot program conducted with government homeland security agencies in Europe and Asia. Okay, that was basically the same thing. I'll go through this PR here and see if there's any types of timelines. I doubt it, but it's good. But let's not get too, very, very little numbers here. This is kind of just a rehash. This is part of its strategic roadmap for 2025. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm simply saying maybe not chase it. Maybe be patient with the stock. We've seen what it's done here.
PBM up to the resistance area I was mentioning earlier, got stopped in its tracks there, trying to see if it can go higher. The high print was 543. There we go. Just went higher. Yep. So it's chewing through those resistance levels. Looks like the next area is going to be at about 680 is the high in the pre-market.
Okay. Zach saying that's true, Ryan, but they're slowly ticking all the right boxes. Zach, you're spot on with that. This is one of the reasons why I have a long-term approach. This is one of the reasons why when it came back into 70 cents after that pump at the end of the year, I was like, I'm not done with this. I'm going to add, and we're going to start to sell. It's taking long. Just this goes back to the entire thing. It's taking longer than I had hoped, but it does appear that they're working. Good point. Good point on that. All right, 13. I am going to visit the washroom here real quick. What stock do you want me to put up while I'm gone for 20 seconds or so?
Chat, what do you want to see while he's gone? Because I'm I'm going all over the place right now. I see the TQQQ is continuing to rise. You could put that one up if you want.
Yeah, sure. I see that NASDAQ is trading higher with that, so that'll actually be pretty good. Here's TQQQ. What? There we go. Let me load up TQQQ here. I promise this I will not be long. BRB.
All right, so he's going to do that. We're looking at TQQQ. This continues to rise. Let me look at the. Okay, so on a daily chart, looks like 8650 is going to be a resistance area. So we could end up seeing the TQQQ run up to the 8650 area and probably go either sideways or get rejected there. That's something I'm going to be watching for with that. That's where the 20-day SMA is. We've lost that. It's one of those big moving averages I was just telling you about. We've been riding that up in a lot of these names. As soon as we start losing that, that might be the signal that we need. That's going to indicate a sell-off. So far, it is coming back up to back test that moving average. We'll see if it could recapture or not. PBM, meanwhile, that popped up to a little bit of a higher high, went up to 580 before coming back in. COM popped up to 1468 before coming right back to where its this sideways consolidation is in the pre-market. Looks like VERB is trying to turn around after getting a near test of the 65 EMA and the demand zone area from the pre-market. SNGX continues lower. Open getting a bounce at the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
All right.
And Lyft trying to not lose the 65 EMA. It's traded down in that area twice, but has not lost it. Still beneath VWAP, though.
I noticed Rocket is higher by about 1.6% here. So Rocket continuing to hold after its earnings. Joby is going nuts, says Joe. Let's take a look here. You might have covered this while I was gone. Apologize if that's the case. Joby above 20. We'll see if it can push it. What's the next level you got here for Joby? I was going to say Joseph, but I figured if I just said Joe, I'd get two answers.
Well, we're in blue sky territory. There's nothing up here.
Okay. So there you go.
There's nothing up here. It does. It's basically taking off.
Now Lion mentioning Palantir. Okay. So Palantir here up 3.36%. Looks like it popped right out of the open there, 160. Lion says it may hit 180 by tomorrow. Lion, you must think it's going to have good earnings then. Palantir reports earnings here tonight, don't forget. So factor that in with whatever trade you're going after. It did try to go through 160. Looks like it's stopped so far here, but and I'll keep an eye and see if I notice anything here on unusual options for Palantir.
Yeah, I have 170 marked off as a potential resistance level based on a trend line. This trend line, if you want to draw it yourself.
Yeah, I think I have it. This is it about, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that perfect 13.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So that was previously a support trend line. Once we lost it back on June 27th, this has been a resistance trend line. And we've already had resistance once, maybe twice happen here last month. So if we do get positive earnings, I think this is the trend line to break. But if it doesn't, it's probably going to print 170 before it backs off.
And real quick, I normally do this around the beginning of the month. I just want to take a sec to go over this real quick. Chris Catchy from our writing team does a really good job aggregating Benzinga Pro habits here. Here are your top tickers entered in Pro for the purpose of research and or selecting from a scanner in the month of July. Number 1, SPY, followed by Tesla, Open, LIDR, NVIDIA, Apple, AMD, IXHL, BMNR, and Sarepta. So the key takeaway here is that while I still think that Fed interest rates, tariff worries, the whole night, well, that still dominates the market. What this tells me is that traders are still going after things that are moving regardless of what the market tells us on a regular basis. And Chris is logging all of these and figuring out which ones here are the top. The one that surprised me was LIDAR. Open with that huge short trade. I would have expected that, as I would have expected with Tesla, and SPY and some of the bigger stocks. But this LIDAR one, I'm surprised that made it into the top 5, let alone the top 10. Anyway, just wanted to share that here with the group. Thank you, Chris Catchy, if you're out there. I always appreciate those articles. I know Anne Marie does too.
This one, LIDAR had a really low float, right?
Yeah.
I
believe it did, but to me, I guess maybe that it would be searched more. No, you're right about that.
Not as low as some of the other ones that we look at, but 24 million. Samel, maybe there's just something that you just kind of want to wait for, or just wait and see what happens here. Don't be in a rush to buy anything. If nothing looks good, don't force a trade. Is what I'm getting at here. Something will emerge. We'll find it. You'll find it too. You don't need to be losing any money because we need to trade something. I'm looking to trade something too, but we gotta wait for those opportunities. So Joby hit 2033, kind of backed off a little bit. PBM still trying to push higher. Looks like 570 is the next level to get back over. Getting pushed down again. If we get a series of upper shadows, that might be spelling some downside for us here.
Thank gosh. I was sharing the correct screen there, but I had the wrong screen and focus for myself. So thought I screwed up there. Okay. I'm going to get back to the chat here.
Oh, take care, Brent. Good job today. Andrew,
I'll tell you what. I was going to say, Brent, you were talking about great job. 3 for 3 with 2 homers and a double, and you're out by the second inning. That's a good day. That's a good day. BTBD, we talked about this one a little bit earlier here today, and it looks like this is ripping. Is he? Uh-oh. Did I just have a chart hang here? This is still working, isn't it?
We're still getting some more upside in TQQQ, so Looking over at it's SQQQ is not even anywhere near being set up yet. There's nothing there right now.
Let me check here. I don't want to say that the. Sorry, go ahead.
Big drop in PBM right through VWAP down to some of these high levels in the last 30 minutes of pre-market.
And I'm just going to try refreshing my platform here. I know I just lost the chart, but I didn't see that elsewhere. I think that might have been a one-off. Your charts are still good, aren't they, 13?
Look fine to me.
Yeah, I think this is a me thing, not a outage thing that we had. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe it's my VPN. Let me figure out what's going on here. I am not so quick to jump on that. One sec.
Nope. I just got an error too.
Okay, you did. So
it's the inputs.
We still have the news here. Okay, but it looks like maybe just that, and that's not our own data. Our own data is working fine. I see the price adjusting.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
I'll get on that, folks.
So just kind of looking around. I mean, it's
wonder if it's really, all of them too.
Really surprising that Joby continues to grind up. Now we did get that break above the 1850 high, but man, is this thing extended? Really think that at some point soon this is going to come back in.
You guys are mentioning that spot is rocketing.
VERB just suddenly got a big ol' lift here, and this is taking off now.
Spotify announced premium subscription price hike from 11 euros a month to 12 euros a month starting in September, affecting users across South Asia, Middle East, Africa, Europe, Latin America, and Asia Pacific. Interesting. My Spotify price not going up.
So VERB hit the 65 EMA and bounced violently back up towards the VWAP. Not quite at the VWAP yet, but it had a pretty big move. Kind of slowed down here right before the VWAP, maybe just consolidating before it makes its next move up here. This has less than 1 million shares in the float, so this is going to move around pretty quickly, folks. Be careful with this one.
And VERB, this is kind of a wild mover here today.
Yeah.
BTBD halted up. Thank you, JJ. See if that gets wild out of the halt. Rocket pulling back a little bit here. It's actually still holding on to green, but it did lose the pre-market highs since we've opened. Netflix, I saw one of you mention Netflix popped out of the gate here, 1175. It tried to recapture. We talked about Netflix possibly going back to 1200. I almost wonder if it can get above that and close above that. That would be something.
Thanks for EVTL, ET3. I'll take a look at this. They report their first half earnings tomorrow. Interesting, interesting income statement here. One quarter they lose $735 million, and last quarter they made almost 400. Looking to see why that is. Less than 30 million shares in the float. So yeah, thank you.
It looks like the loss, they had income before tax. Oh yeah, but that's the loss you're trying to figure out. I beg your pardon.
Yeah. But this looks interesting, and he said it's a U.S. company, so yeah, I'm going to take a look at this. This is going to add to that EV told us. Looks like they also had an offering last month as well. And that's what pulled it down. Was that offering? Google found some legs. Well, run, baby, run.
And you guys are right about Figma. Figma down almost 16%. So pulling back after that IPO. I'm curious. I know it's a new issue. We don't have a lot of data here with Figma IPOing last week. What do we think there's about a potential bounce target here for Figma? One of the other things that I would love to see is a continued pullback on Figma. And I'd love to see that kind of just trade sideways leading into the expiration of the quiet period. I don't know if we're going to get that, but that would be something I'm looking for.
Interesting that Google had filed this, or they have a special joint contract with American Electric, ticker AEP. I wonder if we see more of these types of deals being made. We've already seen some deals being made with nuclear, but now we have a big utility provider. So just something I'll be taking a look at.
Yeah, Lambo, I'm seeing that too. I'm pinging the group on it. No one's throwing up any red flags, so I suspect this is going to be a kind of a short-term thing here. I'll keep you posted on it.
Just looking around, seeing what's giving us a good setup here. Man, TQQQ continues to grind higher. Congratulations if anybody took some overnights or over the weekends on that. Still waiting for the SQQ to set up. We're not even anywhere. We're only about 24 cents away from the VWAP, so we need to be much further away than that. I want at least $1 before we get some kind of a preferred trade setup.
Here, Lambo, it looks like this has been resolved. As I was kind of suspecting that was going to be a quick thing, because I don't think there's actually an inherent problem. It's just kind of a data linkage. Anyway, here's Figma 102 trying its best to hold on to that round 100 number.
Getting a mention on Rigetti. That's getting a lift here today. I saw a very now. I don't know if anybody read or looked at what the conference call from Microsoft was saying, but they are indicating that quantum is way closer than everybody else is thinking. We're talking, just a couple of years.
13, does that mark two major companies now? We had Jensen do his about face on that. Now we have Satya Nadella saying the same thing. Where do we go from here, do you think?
Well, I don't think it's going to be the 5, 10, 30 years that everybody else is thinking. I think it's going to be 2 to 3 that we actually start seeing real world applications being used with quantum technology. Now, it's probably not going to be the quantum that we're all expecting, where it's like complete logic gate, zero error. I don't think that's going to happen quite yet, but we are getting really close to where Microsoft is going to be using their what's the company that they call it? They're using their I think they're using their Majorna processor, but they're working with another company called Atom something. Let me have the tool.
And you know what? While you're doing that here, real quick, Nestor, appreciate this. I forgot about this. Intel's new CEO Lip-Bu Tan said the same thing, and it's setting up Intel for it. So it looks like there are a couple of really big technology companies that seem to be focusing more on quantum here. And 13, kudos to you. When we first started talking about this, my belief was that it probably is still far off. I'll tell you what, if you're correct on your 2 to 3 year thing, that is going to be a massive surprise in terms of speed, at least to me.
Yeah, let me pull up some of the information I was getting earlier. I know that we have trading that we're still doing here. VERB just absolutely ripping now, getting through VWAP. This thing is taking off. But let me look at the article I was reading about this and the company they were working with.
And here you go. Our producers got our back. 13. YouTube poll is up. Quantum technology, how many years away? Now, I would amend this and say quantum technology. What did we just say here, 13? Let me use the same parlance you did. Solving meaningful real world problems. Is that fair? Was that about what you said? Okay. So that's the basis for this question here. How many years away is it from solving meaningful real world problems? Next 5 to 10, 10 to 20 or longer? Thank you, producer, for throwing that up there.
It's Atom Computing that Microsoft is working with to build. Man, what is going on with the internet today? Everything is so slow. Give me 1 second, folks. I want to have some information to tell y'all, but everything is just moving.
And real quick, while you're doing that there, I got your back, 13. No worries. BTBD, we did pop to the highs there into that halt. We've opened now. We're pulling back. Not a complete breakdown, though, on this one. And then VERB, did we halt at all on that? Doesn't look like it. Not yet. Okay, so not yet. So 1750 going to be that spot. Kathy, what kind of target do you have? You've been on point recently. You thinking a 19 handle here on VERB?
Here we go. So Satya Nadella was saying the next big accelerator in the cloud will be quantum, and I'm excited about our progress. In fact, earlier this month, we announced the world's first operational deployment of a level 2 quantum computer in partnership with Actionable Computing. The level 2 quantum systems will include error correction and can support logical qubits, which make them more stable than earlier quantum machines. The company also revealed plans to build a new machine called the Magni with Actionable Computing. That's what I was trying to get at. We'll use over 1,200 physical qubits and support 50 logical qubits. Construction is set to begin in fall of this year, with workloads expected in 2027, 2 to 3 years away. Calling it now.
Okay. Hey, that's really good. And you found something to cite that. I like that a lot. Kathy, I'm out of verb at 17. Kathy,
Nice.
You had to hit that on the curl, right? Nice trade there early. And you know what? I had said 1750, Kathy. Kudos to you, because it does seem like this is struggling here now with 17. That might be one of the levels to watch here, ticker VERB.
Great mention, Joseph. So let's we could start looking at some of the other quantum names that we know about too. So we looked at Rigetti, we looked at Ionic. Let's take a look at QUBT. See how that's moving today. That's up 3 3/4. It looks like all the quantum names are moving. Let's see, QBTS.
And you know what, 13? Starting to see Rigetti calls getting bought here now. This is let's see, this is the 16 that expires this month. 553 contracts there. So that to me looks like a new trade here, $16 strike on that one on Rigetti.
Yes.
Is he
Jay,
mentioning BBAI?
Yeah, Jay, that's what I said. I said that during the CEO mentioned this on the conference call when they had earnings. That's when he was talking about it.
Yeah, you were quoting from the conference call. Yeah, you were looking that up. He was looking up that up to quote that. BBAI, by the way. So this is actually right back to a consolidation area. This happened Monday in July, at the end of July there, July 28th. This area here, got to think that, 720-ish? 720, 725, maybe a possible break area here. BBAI to the upside.
I'm sure you will, Anthony. That trade's been working. Hey, it's all good, Jay. I'm sure that trade's going to work out pretty well. It's been getting a lot of attention, and it's kind of a funny saga to me also.
It makes me chuckle too, but me chuckling doesn't make me money. So that I'm kind of putting my own personal thing aside. Now, Jay, didn't you mention earlier you saw a report that American Eagle sold out over the weekend? If that's the case, I mean, it's only a matter of time before that bleeds down through the P&L there. I would imagine that's definitely a good thing. That's definitely a good thing if you're on the long side of that AEO trade.
Well done, Charles. He's taken TQQQ to the bank.
Charles has taken the entire market by the horns. Okay, this bull market, Charles is literally wrangling it with bolos and then dragging it to his house. Charles, really good stuff here. We'll give you another register ring on that one, that TQQQ. Tell you what, that's been probably the best ETF for our group here this entire year, hasn't it?
It's been treating me very nicely. So yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And I actually moved away from it recently. It might be time to get back. SQQQ, TQQQ pairs trade.
And you know, one other thing, just to go back to the Microsoft thing, we did, to Jay's point, that was some old news. And I think what we were seeing here is that we did get the earnings, we did get that, those statements, but nothing really was happening because the market was so enamored with the tariffs and what was going on last week with all these everything that's going on in the world, that I think that meant that piece of news kind of got overlooked. And now that we've had this weekend to kind of digest it and really look at what he was trying to say, now we're starting to see these quantum names go. And I think that might have been what was happening here. Not 100% guaranteed, but I think that's why we didn't see that movement earlier. Okay.
Robert saying verb doing verby things as that's continuing.
Oh, it's going verbal, isn't it?
Zep here, by the way, this was another one that we've traded off of the scanner. I feel like this was somewhat recently within the past month. Zep Health, his shares trading higher after the company reported year-over-year increase in Q2 financial results. This popped on the pre-market, another leg higher here out of the open. Looks like our intraday high here about 1930. We'll see if this makes a run towards 20. Ondas now printing 240s. So that's actually grinding up here on some decent volume. That's good to see.
Producer, do you think we're going to see those Class A's of Berkshire get up to $1 million a share? Because that's crazy.
Jay here saying, keep an eye on HNST. I think ELF reports this week, and Ulta has been very good the last month or so. Well, I'll tell you what, Jay, we can take a look at that here real quick. Here's your ELF chart. ELF down 1.65%. ELF does report after hours on Wednesday. So when I was going through my rundown earlier, I didn't have ELF on that, but Jay's absolutely right. Ulta here, let's take a look at Ulta as well. Oh, come on now.
And there's also Estee Lauder, which may go to 100. There's a resistance level at 100, maybe 102.
Okay, let me go to the earnings tab here real quick. Now, Ulta, what do we got for earnings? Ulta, next one here is projected for the end of this month. So they haven't confirmed that it's the 28th, but it should be near the end of this month. Ulta up 1% here today. And as Jay was mentioning here, Ulta has been very good the last month. Here's what it looks like on a daily chart. You can see, indeed, it has. Jay, let me ask you just bluntly, you think we get to this 560 here? Let me know. Speaking of Chuckles, do you remember Chuckles candy? I don't know if I've ever had anything that was like as sticky and rough on my teeth than Chuckles. I do remember those. And I actually, you know what? I remember being disappointed when I got the little Chuckles pack on Halloween candy when I was a kid. Give me a Snickers. I'll take that any day.
We're coming up to a bit of a resistance area in the TQQQ. $87 even has a large concentration of sellers. So we could see this pull back a bit, but I still wouldn't be surprised if we ended up grinding higher. I guess as high as 88.25 would be my level where I think we could top out at today. If we don't start turning around here. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at here is if we get back, if we get over 87, I think I'd be looking at about 88.25. ONDS, says Glenn.
Hey, look, Glenn's been on this too. I'll tell you what, I'm not worried about Glenn. When we talk about the news here and not chasing and this, that, and the other thing, I'm not worried about Glenn because Glenn's tech levels, hell, I've been using them. So I don't think Glenn is going to be chasing any of this stuff. Look, I love to see a continuation move here on all of this. What I would say is if you're not in this move and you want some exposure, just wait, be patient. Wait and find a day where this stock pulls back because it's going to. We've seen it before. And when that happens, when it comes into a support level, then think about adding. I wouldn't chase positive price action here.
Do I see legs in NSG? Well, I see a leg down this morning.
Take that.
In all seriousness, the price that it's come down to, it's catching some support from prior to this last impulse move it had at 850. This area that it's getting support at is about 340.
What was the ticker?
This is SNGX.
I was going to say, I was like, I tried a couple of those tickers there. Sologenics. Here we go. Got it.
I don't know about legs. If there's going to be any big movement, it probably might come later on in the day. I feel like the rise into the open kind of killed some earlier hopes of this continuing to run. But if it continues to curl and get support from this 340 area, I would just want to see it recapture VWAP, and then it could start to provide some better trades. 390 is going to be another resistance area that it's probably going to have to deal with. That was a support level after it had that 850 to 9 o'clock impulse move that brought it up to the 446 area. So if it does turn around here and it does recapture VWAP, I would need to see that 390 level get recaptured as well, and then it probably will start trading a lot better. But I'm not sure about having a massive amount of legs that it's going to run on. Maybe later today. Right now, not so sure about that.
Yeah, I do know a fair share about legs. This one not looking all that great. We'll see if it can recapture that VWAP there. Okay.
Yes, good mention on bull. This is about the area where I'd want to see this price action turn around. I was looking at that yesterday, and I was thinking, okay, we're hitting these levels. And I was thinking that we may end up kind of going sideways today, maybe even tomorrow. But until we choose a clear direction on where we're going from here, think I just would wait this out. But I would like to see this start to turn around now, because this is about the area where I wanted to see the selling conclude at off of the 18 level.
Real quick here, some divergence in some of the popular. First of all, Bitcoin's spiking here, 115,700. It is at the highs of the morning. But I also really quickly wanted to mention here, looks like we're getting a little bit of divergence in some of these popular names. Amazon here, which was higher in the pre-market, basically gave all of that back, tried to bounce. Now it actually looks like it's rolling over. We have the opposite setup here in Netflix. So Netflix here popped out of the gate, pulled back a little bit, but this actually looks like it might be going for those highs there, 1177. We talked about this really needing to take out 1200 next. We'll see which one we get here on Netflix. Ondas, by the way, approaching 249. Might get a 250 break on Ondas. That actually might send it here in the near term. We've seen 250 move this stock before. We've also seen it rejected before, to be fair. So can't just assume it's going to go higher here. Ondas already having a nice day, plus 13%.
Got some folks hitting BTBD.
Yeah, that was a really good call earlier. I think Izzy was on that one out of the gate. Oklo, by the way, I know that this pulled back, but guess what? We are right back at the trend line. This is another top-end trend line that 13 had identified for us that is coming into play months after we plotted it on the chart. Watch Oklo here, 78, possible move above 80.
Beth, you're totally fine. We understand that there's going to be a delay from when we say something to when it reaches your ears versus when you guys type something versus when it reaches our eyes. So don't even worry. You're all good.
Yep. And by the way, if you're experiencing a longer than average delay on the stream, remember, it is nothing that our team is doing. We are trying to give it to you as real time as possible. We are obviously limited by internet architecture, as well as whatever the websites like YouTube and Restream are doing. One thing you can do, though, is just try refreshing your stream. That should catch you up. We've actually seen some success with that in the past.
Master, you're starting to get some of this upside movement you want in SMGX. Look for that recapture of the VWAP. That's going to be, I think, one of the last things we need to see here prior to that 390. So we get these levels captured. We may have something here. Just let's see what happens following this candle.
381 is going to be your VWAP there. A move through on value might be pretty good. Excuse me, let me get this name right. Bryce, sorry, took me a sec to read that there. I apologize. Bryce here mentioning SMCI. SMCI just broke 59. Earnings are tomorrow. Remember, we spoke to Louis Navalier this morning, says he owns a ton of SMCI. I believe, if I recall correctly, that he said that this was his second biggest position behind NVIDIA. Don't quote me on that. Quote me on the fact that he did say he had a ton of this reporting earnings tomorrow after hours here. Here is SMCI. Looks like we did challenge 59 earlier today. Quick peek at the daily chart here on SMCI. We also have this level here from, what was this? February? Yep, that February high, about 66 and change.
Yeah, like 67. That was a support area last year, and then we lost it. Since then, we've come back up to test it. Got rejected at resistance. This next one, and with on the piggyback of earnings, that might be enough to break through it. But you do run into some other resistance levels, particularly up at 75 and 80. So we'll see how. I mean, this could depending on how the earnings go, this could move pretty well. But
yeah,
I'm only going to give those levels. I don't know exactly where this tops out at. When you talked to Mr. Navalier, did he give any update on what his thoughts on rate cuts were?
Yeah, he did. First of all, he said, I asked him flat out, would you have cut in July? He said yes. He also believes that we are going to see a rate cut in September. He said that's almost a certainty. That's not the exact words he used, but that's what he was implying. He also thinks we're going to get one in December, and he sees a few more next year as well.
Okay. Those are the months that I'm looking at for 2 rate cuts this year. Let's see if we're both right.
Okay. Ondas, by the way, tapped 250. There's a huge seller at 250. Not surprised. Did say that was going to be a key level. They actually hit some of that. They backed it off that spot, but we're not breaking down here yet. Keep your eyes on 250 there on Ondas. Yes, he is, Jay. I know you don't make the early segment of the show. I make 2 or 3 quotes of his comments per week. Along with other analysts, not just specific to him. He has by far been the most accurate with this entire thing. I told him that this morning, and I'll say it again.
Looks like Open Doors trying to recapture VWAP. Meanwhile, SNGX went up to VWAP, got rejected. It's currently getting rejected. We saw the 1.5 lift in this candle, so let's see what we end up getting. But this is one of the things I was going to kind of watching for with SNGX. That VWAP there providing some significant rejection. Let's see if it can turn around and get that later.
Okay, here's Ondas still looking at that 250. We're right back up there again. Here we go. 250 on the offer. They're hitting it again. If they chunk through this, I got to think we see a short-term pop here on ONDS. Okay, they took a big chunk of it, but couldn't take all of it. Stock is backing off that spot again now.
Kathy mentioned that SBET is up 15%. Beth is looking at Palantir being the Berkshire Hathaway of quantum cybersecurity, and I think she's trying to just flex her investment muscles here by saying that she was owning Sirius satellite radio before Warren B. So she saw the value before he did. So
there you go.
Let's certainly look at more into to Palantir. I would love to see some actual physical proof on your thought here. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I would love for your theory to be right with some data to back it.
Well, maybe you learned some more from Palantir's earnings report tonight after hours.
Yep.
Sorry, just looking around through some of these tickers. A lot of them are still moving here. Your SNGX could not get above that VWAP. Onda's still struggling with 250, although they are pounding it, and I see prints, folks. I see print. I think, I'll tell you what, they're going to try and take this level. Now, on the flip side, if they are unsuccessful in taking 250 here, I wouldn't even be shocked if Ondas trades back down to 230-ish or a 230 handle. Might even move lower than that. STS, Steelcase, which we talked about here, this making a move towards the impulse high. I've got that value up here, 1730s or so.
TQQQ hit 87 exactly and started backing off. I don't think it's finished, but this is certainly looking like it is in the need of some cooling after getting over 80 RSI.
Bang, 250 is down. Ondas popping 3 cents through there. There's a bid beneath it. We'll see if this can hold. Ondas through 250, really, really good volume.
So PBM gave back everything and more. The low for this is 412. So lost one of the support areas from when we were trading this last week. It looks like it's trying to turn around here. There is some support down around 415, 420. So we'll see if this is going to be a turnaround here and try and view up again, or if we're just going to continue lower or sideways.
I'll tell you what, this chart to my eye here looks lower, but you bring up a really good point, whether or not we break this downside level. Good morning, Smoke Tuna, bonjour. And then SML advisory. Did you cover FIG on Friday? Yes, we did. And we briefly mentioned it this morning. I didn't spend a lot of time on it because we actually had a chart data issue that has since been resolved. The one thing I did mention here, FIG, watch that round 100 level. Look at that. We've broken through that now, 99 to the downside here.
You're all good, ET3.
You guys are all good on that.
We can't control how quickly the stream reaches to, but we can try to help give some suggestions on how to make it so there's less of a delay.
And 13 and I are professionals on this, so we're not going to get thrown off by something small like that. Figma here. Look, I'd like to hear from the group. I had said earlier, I know we don't have a lot of data because this is a new issue here. Figma basically back into the range from the IPO day where it went ham. Where do you folks think we find any support? Where's Figma viable for a long side trade? And perhaps even more importantly, when? I'm thinking at this point, I'd like to see this come in and base because that sets up very, very well for the quiet period expiration.
I feel like if there's any support coming, it's probably going to be somewhere between 93 and 95, and then after that, it's just the low of the opening
Okay.
of the IPO. That's really it for me.
Okay. BLDE, this is one that we talked about earlier. Let's see if 5 can get taken down here. BLDE. Also, someone mentioned Newegg earlier today, but I never got to it. NEGG looks like we found resistance in a 69 handle. That was the high from Thursday of last week. I would still watch NEGG, excuse me. Series of higher lows here. Maybe we can punch above 70. NEGG. Onda's still grinding here. Boy, I tell you what, there looks like there's a buyer there.
And now that the Trump tariffs deadline, I guess, is out of the way, there's a lot more focus being paid to some of these other names that weren't really getting the attention. As far as Newegg goes, looks like we have a little bit of a trend we can look at here. We need to break 70.50 to get above this trend line.
HIMS, by the way, seeing some puts here. HIMS, of course, reports earnings after hours today. Looks like we're still under that $70 recent high, but actually above the trend line. Yep, this is the trend line that we drew through the impulse high and some of those other highs here. You got any outlook, 13, just off the top of your head on HIMS for earnings here?
Let's see. Oh, for earnings, I don't know if I can comment on their earnings, but I can certainly comment on their chart. Don't like that candle from Thursday. That's a ugly looking reversal candle. But today, looking a little bit more undecided with a bit of an inside candle, and it's also neutral in nature. So it seems like there's some indecision happening here with investors and HIMS. Not something I would really like to see ahead of an earnings print. But keep in mind, we have had a bit of a run up here into this earnings print too. So I don't think it would be surprising to me if this ended up coming in, regardless of what the earnings print is. Now, if it absolutely blows earnings away spectacularly, like Microsoft did, then maybe it could go higher. But I think it would have to be a massive beat on earnings if we're going to see more upside.
Yeah, and one of the other things to watch from this earnings call, do they even mention some of the recent things that have gone on here with Novo Nordisk? Now, I think we had, let's see if we've got this. I have this unconfirmed for 11 days, but I am fairly certain this reports this week.
Yeah, Jay, that's kind of what I'm leaning on here, is that they both, HIMS has a high bar, in my opinion. I think you're right, absolutely 100% right about that.
Yeah, HIMS does, Novo does report this week.
TQQQ took out $87, so that seller that was 87, now it's coming back in.
And then Lilly as well there. Okay. Yeah, Jay here mentioning HIMS and Palantir both have high bars with earnings tonight. I'll be honest, I'm not playing any of their earnings plays here. I don't feel great about any of them. Frankly, that's part of the reason why I'm asking the group here to see if you guys have any thoughts on earnings plays that you think might be winners here.
Joby got support from the VWAP. It's trying to push up towards over 20 again. Current high of the session is 20 and 33 cents.
Despite the move higher here in NASDAQ, Palo Alto actually moving lower. It's still hanging on to green because it gapped higher, but it's holding on to green by 18 cents. $133 there on Palo Alto. Here's your Joby chart, 13. This actually looks like it's going for the high.
Yeah. And then Master, hopefully you didn't pick up any SNGX, because this is what I was concerned about. It's coming down to the 65 EMA now.
Got to be good on the entries with some of these smaller movers here. Elmos with a Z. I love it. We will know about Figma in the next few days. What do you think is going to happen? What does your gut tell you? You think maybe this kind of bases and gives us another spot to enter there?
And Master, I'd continue to be careful with SNGX. I think you are going to get a bounce here on the 65 EMA, but I don't know that we're going to start to turn around and make its way back up to VWAP and higher. Just be careful with SNGX. There might be some other better stuff out there to trade anyway.
I think there definitely is. This doesn't look appetizing at all.
No. Like SBET, which is continuing to move according to Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Let me look at SBET.
Yeah, PBM doesn't look great either. I'll bring up SBET here. We can take a look at it as a group. SBET at 20 as this moves off the 1775 level that we had identified. SBET indeed is popping here. Did we have news on this, folks? Let's see.
If Bitcoin's rebounding, we might see a lot of these Bitcoin and crypto treasury names rebound as well. SBET.
We just had a couple of grants for some of the C-suites.
VERB blasting off again. SBET is also coming up to Thursday's consolidation area from the regular session. But yeah, VERB, that was looking like it was setting up. That just blasted through its VWAP, looking to take take on the high of the regular session, which is 1730.
Yeah, and I still think that 1750 is eventually going to come into play here. We'll see.
This might halt here. I think it is. And halted.
On VERB?
Nice. On VERB. Nice stuff.
Okay, there you go. Really good stuff there. Here, two stocks. AC asking about Cassie. Cassie was a good one this morning out of the gate. Indeed, it was. And actually, if we take a quick look at the Cassie chart here, we actually got some action that we really like, right? This thing came back in and then really started to rocket. I'll tell you what, after taking out that pre-market high here on volume, this thing's volume continued to expand. We had a pullback to the VWAP, which caught that price and supported it, set up some new highs here. So I'd really be watching the VWAP here as a support level. Someone earlier had asked if we can explain the VWAP. It's basically a volume-weighted average price moving average, and it often determines intraday support and resistance. We saw it once here on Cassie. Let's see if we see it again. And then Izzy here mentioning Fubo. Izzy, let me ask you, I know we talk about the stock here quite a bit. Are you familiar with the service at all by chance? Here is Fubo, big volume pop. Fubo at the highs here today, so another pretty decent move.
Take care, Judge. Have a good one.
Take care of yourself, Judge.
One thing that may be moving Fubo, because they're tied to Disney through Hulu, I believe, is that Disney has earnings in a couple of days. Disney is moving up here this morning. It looks like it's going to try and move higher. We have a bit of a bullpen happening here with this. So I would say for a Fubo trade, let's see what we get out of Disney's earnings. That may set up a trade here for Fubo when that happens.
Okay. So, and by the way, 13, Disney's earnings Wednesday before market. So you're right. That is coming here in a couple of days. Iowa Hawkeye Sports here. The Caitlin Clark, #1 fan of the show. Fubo will improve the college football watching experience. How so? Do they have like a game mix where you can pick and choose what games you want to watch on the same screen? I'm asking out of ignorance. I have no idea how good the Fubo service is or what features it even has. Let us know. I'm definitely interested in hearing how college football and pro football are going to perform on some of these services, because I think that is a major cash cow. And I think if you do actually have a better experience, maybe more folks will want to go to that experience. Joseph reminding us that Fubo used to advertise itself as the go-to streaming channel for sports, especially European soccer. Joseph, take care.
Take care, Joseph. And that was this. I saw that too, and I was like, oh yeah, well we do have football starting up again, so maybe these sports names end up having a return here as well. Let's look at Donkey Kong. Hey, that's up almost 2% today. How about that?
And you know what? I believe
on Wednesday.
Yep, Donkey Kong, or DraftKings, if you will. That's just our colloquial name for it. I believe we also have Flutter Entertainment. Let me see here. Yes, Flutter, ticker FLUT, the parent company of FanDuel, reporting its earnings on Thursday after hours.
Okay, there we go, folks. It looks like we have some kind of a theme that we can trade on when we have these sports betting earnings coming up here ahead of the NFL season.
Now, Fubo here, Izzy bringing up an interesting point. Fubo pre-estimated last week for earnings. So, Izzy, that's the question. Is this baked in? Are those good pre-earnings announcements baked into the price? Or is this something where we might get some more surprise, perhaps some more upside? Perhaps they're holding back and dropping a bomb there. What do you think?
Muad'Dib, can you leave Bob Ross on for your dogs? That's amazing. Can we see some paintings your dogs have done? I'd love to see.
Speaking of Bob, I don't know if Bob Ross could have painted a better weekend of weather here in the Midwest. All weekend was amazing. All weekend was amazing here for both baseball, golf, pretty much everything that we were doing.
Nestor, people are still paying for monthly subscriptions. They're still paying. I mean, Spotify just rolled out the new some advertisements for an already paid subscription. I think you have to pay even more if you don't want them, right? I don't use Spotify, so you have to tell me. But I thought that's what was happening. You have prices being raised in other streaming platforms. I mean, Netflix continues to be a big solid name in streaming. I think people will continue to pay for these. You might see some cutting of services they don't particularly use a lot of, but I still think they're going to be paying these higher streaming services, these higher costs if they're raised. They just will cut elsewhere, I think. Is it really looking beautiful there, Beth? Lots of are you getting the fall weather already? The transition of the leaves?
I'll tell you what, I got mixed feelings on those leaves. I used to love it, right? Signal football, signal fall, signal closer to the holidays. Now it signals the end of golf season. I hate walking up to the green with a bunch of leaves on the green. Oh, that's the worst. Not here yet, though.
Joby's about to make some new session highs. It's coming up to 2033.
Jay asking the $64,000 question here. Jay saying, Fubo, if I were to guess, they'd beat the preliminary number. Why else would they get ahead of it? And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. You know, like get some of that good news out there. Maybe they do beat it a little. I'm almost wondering if that positivity is baked in already and if you're more likely to see a downside move there.
New highs, Joby. Man, off of that VWAP, that was just some great price action. Now this candle that we're in, this might be one of the last ones before we get some before the price comes in a little bit. So we'll see what we end up getting with this candle. But I feel like after the three upside green candles like this, we're going to get a little bit of selling happen.
Joby here. What a monster move on Joby.
VERB unhalted. That's open now, trading above its VWAP. It came down to VWAP, but got some support there. Let's see if traders can take this thing higher into 17. There's a seller at 17 right now. Let's see if they can take that out. Remember, it hit 22.49 in the pre-market.
Take a look at the market overview here. So we did see NASDAQ, SPY, and Dow all move up. See a green out there with technology the strongest. Interestingly, utilities look really strong. Fins look really strong. And even industrials outperforming here today.
I feel like, with how much we were seeing, stocks get sold off on Friday, that this is just a natural bounce. We could continue to see some more downside following a day or two of this. Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
I don't think we're just suddenly reversing and making new highs. I would need to see more data than what we're getting. But I feel like this is just at the very least a technical bounce, because we did sell off quite a bit on Friday.
Okay, and time to shout out. We're not quite there. Glenn, I hope I don't jinx you here, but Glenn, earlier today, this was actually about, 7 minutes ago, Glenn told us that on this, we were going to see 262 next. Look where we're at. 265, your high print. We're 1 penny off that. Glenn, I'll tell you what, whatever you're using there here today, that is some sharp stuff. Almost cut myself on that.
Careful. Bullish Band-Aids.
Bullish Band-Aids. We have a new product idea.
Beth, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but it's kind of funny to me.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either. I don't know what that is either. Izzy, I love this. Here, let me actually go to my bigger chart. I've been kind of looking at this myself. I love that you're getting ready for this here. Izzy saying Amazon, I'm buying soon for a long-term hold. So I know you scalp Amazon a lot here around this show, but it looks like we're actually doing something a little bit different here, looking for a potential long-term view on Amazon. What level? Is it the 200-day here at 209? Is it maybe a little bit beneath that in case we peak beneath that? 200? What do you think here? What's your spot on Amazon long term? I got to be honest with you. They hold this 50-day, or excuse me, they hold this 200-day moving average or peak below and recapture it in 2 days. I think that would be, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Just curious as to what you see here on Amazon for your level to load.
Let's see. So I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that conversation. He's looking at the 200.
No, I was asking him what he's looking at. He said he's soon getting ready to load an Amazon long term. So I'm trying to figure out numbers wise where that position is. It does seem like the 200-day jumps off the chart, but 210, he says. 210.
That's it. 200-day is 209.70. Gotcha. Okay. So she drives past Amish buggies. Gotcha.
Let me ask you a question. I'm not trying to start any shit here. I'm really not. I'm really not. What is worse on the road, Amish buggies or Priuses? Just out of curiosity, because I'll tell you what, around the Chicagoland area, I absolutely cannot stand finding a Prius on the road. Those drivers are just not with it. No offense. Just telling you what I've noticed.
Yeah. I feel like
I don't really want to touch this one.
Well, no, I will. I feel like the Amish would be better because I don't feel like they're pretentious.
And it looks like the chat so far agreeing with you. Prius for sure. I love the Amish. The Prius is worse, says Webcoin. Prius Uber driver, says Gunny Johnson. Oh, I didn't have that on my bingo card here today, but I'm appreciative of all of you confirming what I've seen as well. American Eagle, by the way, ticker AEO, looks like 1250, your intraday spot here for today for some more upside. Stock's up 13.5% here today on some pretty decent volume. When do they report earnings? When are we going to hear about some of the stock being sold out and then see that reported here? Looks like the end of August. Okay.
You might see PBM trying to turn around here. We did get some support around 397. Looks like VERB is trying to recapture VWAP. We need to see a little bit stronger volume, and we might get another pop that we did earlier. If we do, I mean, 1825, 18 to 1840 is about where I would think the next impulse move could top out at here at VERB if we end up getting it. Gator, don't play that. Oh, man, I would love to quote some of those, but they're not safe.
Sometimes we think better about that.
Did you ever see Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell?
Which one? Sorry.
Other Guys.
No, I don't think I've ever seen that. Is it worth it?
That's what that's for. It's worth a watch once,
okay.
just for the lulz. It does have some pretty good moments in it. I think about it.
And folks, I wasn't trying to poo-poo the Prius car. I understand that it's got really good gas mileage, and if that's your most important thing, then giddy up. I totally get it. The drivers, though, and again, this could be local to my area. I'm not trying to cast aspersions on anyone here or anywhere else, but it does seem like those drivers pay less attention to their surroundings. Let's put it that way.
A lot less to pay attention to when you're in the carpool lane. There.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, some people have watched this movie. Period. He's singing one of the funniest WTF moments of the movie.
That movie is top 10. Okay. Comedy movies can be like that. Comedy movies can be like that. I think Grandma's Boy is absolutely hilarious.
Oh, wow.
Other people look at me and think you're dumb for even putting that movie on. So that's just how it goes.
Such an underrated movie.
Oh my gosh. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Because I saw that thing the first time and I was like, this is going to be a cult classic. This is going to be a cult classic.
Okay. It looks like
lose the Woody Allen jacket there. By the way, really quickly.
VERB, there it is.
VERB, let me put it on screen. Sorry. Let me put it on screen. Up. Here we go. Break new highs, new intraday highs. We'll see if we attack any more areas of that candle. I got to think 20's next.
Well, right to the next resistance area I was referring to. Now we're going to halt. Beautiful.
All right, 13, you're going to like this. Our results are in. Quantum technology poll that we put up earlier, it's how many years away? 55% of you said in the next 5 years.
All right.
So you're siding with 13 there. 26% of you said 5 to 10. 8% of you said 10 to 20. And 8% of you said longer than that. So pretty good distribution there on that poll. Thank you, producer, for getting that done on the fly. There are your results.
Yes, Master, I was mentioning about 5 minutes ago that it looked like it was trying to find some a bottom or a footing. It went down to 397, and $4 was the support area I was looking for. So we ended up getting a little bit of that. Is it turning around and going to go higher now? Got to get through a lot of moving averages here, particularly the 200 and the 65 EMAs. So 450 to 460 is a big question mark for me. But that's about where I see the next big area of resistance. We got through that, then VWAP would be after that.
Beth, I would agree with you. Mallrats probably ranks as a cult classic. Indeed, that is one from my younger days. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, are you kidding? That is absolutely a classic there.
All right, so we are halted in VERB. This is absolutely beautiful. Right to the area I was looking for. Now, I don't know what kind of price action we'll get out of the halt here, if this is going to continue to blast up and go to 20 like you were looking for, Ryan. But I think I would kind of lean a little bit more on what we've been getting so far out of these halts with this one. The last time we had a halt was about 10.20, and then the next candle out of the halt, we went sideways and then slightly lower. So we did print a slightly higher high, but we ended up closing lower. So I'm not sure what we're going to really end up getting out of VERB here. Maybe some slightly higher prints, possibly up to 19. But at the same time, we could come right back in and close slightly underneath this high that we halted at.
Anne-Marie, did you get the memo about the new cover page for the TPS reports? I would agree with you. Office Space, just an absolute winner. You know how many times I've fantasized about reenacting the scene where they take the printer out to a field and just baseball bat the hell out of it? I have had so many printers that have given me trouble. I would love to do that someday. I wouldn't like the cleanup, though, and I don't think putting plastic in a bunch of fields is a good idea.
No, it's just spread a blanket, a big quilt or a tarp down, and then smash it on that.
See, now you're thinking.
It's
Now
because
you're
I've done it
thinking.
before.
Master, I agree. Dogma, one of my
yeah.
favorites, one of my absolute favorites. I feel like that didn't get enough credit there. But man, oh man, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in Dogma are just.
Yeah, smash that like button if you enjoy Kevin Smith movies as we do.
Yeah, especially ones with Salma Hayek in them. Go ahead and smash up that like button. We would appreciate that. ET3 says, I've lived that scene. Rite of passage after 10 years in IT support. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt some of the things that you've seen.
Yeah, Nathan, I would say Idiocracy, but I feel like that's more of a documentary now. Yeah, see, Empyrean, you're kind of feeling me on that too.
Anne-Marie Ben, it's actually Burn After Reading, and this is, in my opinion, one of John Malkovich's most underrated roles because that is so good. That entire movie is so good from start to I could probably quote that entire movie start to finish. It is so good. So many F words in it, though. Be wary. Great call there, Anne-Marie. Not many people know about Burn After Reading. That's one of my favorites.
Diamond, we're halted near one of them right now for VERB. I was looking at the 1825 to 1840 area, and we're right there at that level, halted. So once we get out of this halt, I certainly expect that we might get a little slightly higher print and then come back in, just like we did the last time. But if we continue to push up here, I'd be looking at $20 as the next upside target, followed by that that pre-market high at 22.50. That would be the next two levels I'd be looking at.
See if we get that there on VERB. How's Joby doing? That's been another one of our good ones here for today. Joby actually pulling off that high. We'll see if it sets it again. I sure see resistance up here about 12.30.
I think Joby may end up coming in a little bit more after this.
Okay.
If it doesn't reverse here and start turning back up, I think the next candle we may signal that we're going on to lose VWAP.
Beth here saying, my date didn't understand Office Space and called it stupid, so we broke up at Wendy's. Well, Beth, a couple of things here. Number one, you you did the right move there. I generally don't support this, but you did the right move there. Office space is in fact not stupid. Got to ask you, did this person appreciate or have any pieces of flair themselves? I would just be curious about that. You made the right decision there.
Yeah, well, you know, Wendy's usually likes to tout that quality is their recipe, and it sounds like that wasn't very high quality enough for you there, Beth. So I think you made
I absolutely love how you tied that beautiful package together there, 13. That was extremely impressive.
And Ryan Summerall, I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think that was a great movie as well.
VERB unhalted here, tried to go higher there. It looks like 1913, pulling back, actually closed the gap from the halt. So I think this could go either direction here. Let me actually throw this up in another window, and I'll mention what I see off the level 2, if anything.
So we did get a little bit higher prints off this.
It's going.
Not pulling. Well, we're looking for 20 here. We're getting pretty close to it. Now, if we break through 20, I think that we will end up seeing 2250. But just like the last time that we came out of a halt, I was kind of anticipating that we may end up printing some higher prints here and then coming back in. So we still have like about 40 seconds left in this candle to see what we end up getting here.
Beth says he worked at Circuit City, so he had tons of flair. Oh my, I didn't have any of this on my bingo card today, but the chat, as they always do, surprises me to the upside.
Where was that state-of-the-art service? Remember? Welcome to Circuit City.
Oh, yeah.
Service to state-of-the-art. Where was that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, so many good quotes here.
I love it. Look, I love it. I love what we've done here. VERB now actually feeling a little bit heavier here, although I'm not seeing big blocks of stock getting sold into this move higher, or at least not yet. Maybe I should qualify it. Not yet. We still have really been unable to turn up and try to hit that $20 level. So we'll see here on VERB.
It's doing almost the exact same thing that we did out of the last halt. We got this neutral candle. We're getting the next one, which is a little bit more downside. That was kind of in between testing and or holding VWAP. So let's see what happens with this candle. And then the next one, maybe there's going to be a green impulse move that takes us higher. Just a bit of a repeating pattern right now. Let's see if it continues to repeat. No position in this one right now. Looks like the Qs are basing. Well, SQQQ is kind of basing. The TQQQ is kind of been going sideways at the top for a while.
VERB might be turning up here. I'll keep it on another chart so I can call it if it makes any of those breaks here. It's trying to go back for 19. Here's what I'm seeing on the Qs. This is actually holding higher here. And I would agree with Jay. Today is a very bad day if you were a bear, because we closed on the lows, like Jay was saying, or near the lows on Friday. Probably people short over the weekend. And now you're getting a move higher right out of the gate and a hold. We're not giving it back, at least not this early.
Oh, Buffalo, man, you are absolutely speaking to me right now. I feel the same way. They're terrible now.
Real quickly, Buzz Lightyear mentioning Apple having a steady climb. Guys, I still think that the story on Apple is the same from last week. And we talked, I know they reported earnings, but we talked about this. We talked about this potential 215 break out of this triangle here. To me, this is all we should be looking at Apple. The other thing is that if you go back to Liberation Day and you draw this, now we have a trend line here that we did kind of snap through. I'd like to see this get reclaimed and then move through 215 on Apple.
I still feel like they're super behind.
Yeah, no, I look, and all of that, none of that is wrong. I'm just saying, from looking at the chart and some of the technical setups that we looked at the chart, 215 still in play here. So although we're seeing a climb here today, I really want to know what happens when we test 215.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you guys are saying Happy Gilmore 2 is bad. I haven't seen it yet. Please, no spoilers. It probably isn't much to spoil. My golf buddy, who I talked to yesterday, said the best way I can describe it is Happy Gilmore is 100 1-minute TikTok videos end to end. That's
a great
breakdown.
description.
I know he's got a way with words. He's something else. Day Trader saying his Solana phone ships today. Congrats, Day Trader. I thought I scared you away earlier. I wanted to ask real quick about the that crypto, and I already forgot it. Let me go back to it. What was that crypto, that new altcoin that we took a look at today? We had a treasury strategy on it.
Oh, that was VERB, wasn't it? The one with the new crypto one?
The private placement, yeah. But I wanted to ask him about the crypto. TON, yeah, TON. Listed TON Treasury Strategy. A producer looked this up, said TON is the 25th largest crypto based on market cap, something like that. Let me know what you think here about this crypto. VERB, probably one of the biggest movers here today.
Oh, that's great, Muad'Dib. Now, do you frame them, or do they have too many rough edges?
Izzy is trying to tell me that Adam Sandler is in Happy Gilmore 2, and that is a spoiler. Thank you, Izzy, for not actually giving me a spoiler. Appreciate you.
Looks like we're starting to see some selling in the Qs. SQQQ starting to turn up. I don't know that we're going to, just completely start selling off here. We might, but I'd be a little bit cautious about this.
VERB still holding on to an 18 handle, which I suppose is what we want to see if we're going to move higher here. Someone asked about Roblox earlier. I've noticed that there's been a number of unusual option trades here on Roblox, but I haven't discerned anything from it. Remember, this was a Tim Melvin momentum pick from a webinar a couple of weeks ago. Here's the chart action on Roblox. This big pullback, I feel like shook out some of those weak hands. My question is, how much longer till 140? I think that's probably coming here. RBLX Roblox. Roblox actually at the intraday highs here today.
I guess I just won't ever understand the appeal. It's got to be a me problem. When a company loses like $250 million every quarter, I just don't get it. Don't get it.
Seeing a whole bunch of HIMS puts, multiple legs, a bunch of sweeps here. These are the puts. These are the 60 and 50 puts for September. Remember, this is ahead of earnings after hours here today. So looks like you're getting some bearish HIMS flow ahead of the earnings report today.
Wow. United Health went down to 236.95 and then it reversed. Now it's recapturing 240.
Remind me what our target downside level past 250 was in that 248.88 that we had identified.
Let me see here, because I think I was giving some, some pretty wild levels. Like I was saying, I think it could go as low as 190 or 180 or something like that. But I think 200 to I wanted to say 215, I think was what a lot of us were looking for, but I might not be accurate about.
No, I think you're right. Big Abees here saying 170 to 215 was his area. Big Abees has been all over the UNH move since it started. Daniel's asking, do you guys hold Bitcoin? I don't know about 13, so I won't speak for him. I do hold a little bit of Bitcoin, but I did sell a pretty big chunk of it earlier this year for the first time ever. I still hold all my Ethereum and all of my altcoins.
I used to. I don't have any crypto right now. Your son keeps Roblox in business. Could you elaborate? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. He does business with Roblox, or because I can understand how people can make money off of the company, but the company itself is a money-losing machine.
Tyson here, we talked about this, reporting positive earnings here today. This was actually up 4.25% earlier. It's holding on to 4% gains here, but really hasn't done a whole lot today on the back of that earnings report. VERB turning up again. This is not done yet. I know we don't have Tuna because he's on a much-earned vacation, but I don't think VERB is done here for today.
You're talking about okay. So, Master, you're referring to the metals company, the bounce that I was looking at on Friday, where we had that that hammer, and we did get a reversal. We just opened higher, but it's what it's given up its gain, and what are you exactly here? All but dead today. You're looking for an entry. Okay. So let me see if I understand what you're trying to ask here. When you see it bounce, I guess I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. You're asking when I saw the bounce, and it was highly in after hours on Friday's news of Bell dead today. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't understand your question. What are you looking for in TMC? If you're looking for to get back into this, I would probably say maybe just continue to wait.
I'll do my best to help out here. He's wondering, given the move higher that we saw in the after hours and the extreme piss poor action today that has really just sank this thing, where do you see this stock bouncing? We actually breached the intraday low from last week. So I guess looking at a daily chart, he's asking, where's the next potential support area? Just me, I know you didn't ask me, and I'm nothing compared to 13, but just kind of estimating this, I'd say 525.
I do like 5. If I'm looking at the price action in May, there was toward the end of May, there was this area where it was trying to capture 5. It was printing above it, but couldn't capture it. Stock ended up coming down to the 20-day SMA. And then in middle of June, it finally broke over that $5 level. So I think for me, $5 is going to be the spot that I'd be watching for. Not that that 525 certainly does look like an area as well. But I think based on the way that the price is trying to get above 5, and when it finally did, it was through a higher than volume candle that it had when it was trying to do it earlier. So I think $5 for me would be the big support area that I'd be looking at.
Okay, good stuff there, 13. I was just making a joke. I'm just trying to lighten the mood here. Really quickly, we talked a little bit earlier when we were talking about the potential TQQQ trade, or potential nothing, the one that Charles cleaned up on.
Yeah.
We talked about the NASDAQ really kind of holding higher here and how bad this is for the bears that were really bearish on Friday. Well, actually, Q's here now returning to the high end of the range. SPY actually looks like it might be taking the next leg higher here. It will be very interesting to see if tech follows it. Here's your look at SPY. Indeed, I know we only peaked above, but we are trying to break out of this upside move here with the broader market. I wonder if technology follows here.
COMM. This looks like it's starting to turn up. It's making its way toward its VWAP. The volume isn't great, but there's something I just noticed here. This could end up getting going if it can take out VWAP here. I don't think it's going to provide much of a trade until it does.
Okay.
Joby may be starting to put in a bit of a bearish top here. Let's see what happens if it tries to go for that session high again. It's starting to look like it might be putting in a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. We'll see.
And folks, I'm sorry for not covering this one again. We talked about Tesla here being up on the pay package vote in the pre-market. We actually did mention how right out of the open, this thing kind of turned around and set some new highs. But boy, oh boy, since then, we've pretty much erased all of this gain here from today's pre-market session. This stock closed right around 302 on Friday. We're at 304 now. So Tesla really struggling here. And that is not the case for the rest of the market. It looks like we just got a red candle across the board there. As I was saying that, looks like we got another red candle. Go figure.
Well, 300 is the support area I'd be looking at for Tesla. It's got a lot of interaction there at that particular price. That's the one I like. Wow, VERB. Okay, maybe this is the next candle that goes into a halt if it breaks 1950. Wow, VERB has probably been one of the. If you've been patient enough, VERB has been pretty good today.
Sure has.
I think there's other names that have run a lot better, but VERB has been the one that's provided a lot of great setups. Well, it moved up over 1950. It's not looking like it has the same kind of volume to put it into a halt, though. BTBD, that thing
You know what? Shout out to our chat here. You guys are, even if I have my eyes on something else, I can always rely on you folks. And this is what makes you guys so great. Looks like Trump now posting more stuff on Truth Social regarding India and Russian oil. And that is likely contributing to that quick down move that we saw. Now, nothing's breaking down here, but that is that move down there. Thank you very much, chat. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome, guys and gals. Really quick here, let me get the bills paid real fast. Where is it? All right, here you go. We have another webinar in the evening this Wednesday here. Now, it's not me doing this. I'll be honest. I've done a couple of these at night. It's nice to have a week off here. But please join veteran trader Tom Gentile live this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern as he reveals the seasonal trade setups already beginning to appear. These are the same patterns that led to recent gains of 105% on Adobe, 128% on Progressive, 150% on the Gold Shares Spider ETF. Learn which trades appear to be setting up next and how you can position before the correction takes hold. Tom is an options trader that utilizes seasonality in his trading plan. He's going to go over that in a webinar here this week. QR code on the screen. Enjoy if that's something that you're looking for.
Brian, if it loses VWAP, I could see it going down to at least 1875, maybe 1850. Yeah, I think if it loses VWAP, that could certainly happen. We're getting pretty close to where it's time for me to go refill my coffee.
Hey, that's not bad.
Ahmed has a question about...
Yeah, Ahmed, do I need to pay for data feeds for Scanner's Live Price and Benzinga? So first of all, Benzinga is not a brokerage, so you're not going to be able to execute trades here. This is a supplemental subscription. One of our levels, everything is real time. So as long as you go for the essential package for Benzinga Pro, every tool in here is going to be real-time data. You don't have to worry about that. If you have any other questions, or you want to try something out, or you want to speak to somebody, my main man, James, who has been working hard recently, is available to help you. I'll go ahead and throw his contact information here in the chat. You can reach out to him today, okay? Today, and get every one of those questions answered. James's contact info in the chat there, Ahmed. Go at it.
Let me just take a look at something real quick here before I split for the day, because
no problem. While you're looking at that, Cassie is turning up here. Cassie has a VWAP at 208. The volume's really died off here. So what I would like to see, in addition to a move above the VWAP, there would be this volume to kind of expand.
Okay. So we've talked about this one previously, and it's been absolutely hammered, and it continues to get hammered. As a matter of fact, I think we made some new lows on Friday, and we could continue to make some new lows this week. Voyager Technologies, they have earnings tomorrow.
Don't remind me.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, they have earnings after the market closed today. Their conference call is tomorrow in the morning. And I wanted to flag this because, well, we don't have a specific launch date yet. Starship is supposed to do their Flight 10 this month. I'll narrow down the expected launch days when it's supposed to happen this month. It could be as early as in a week or two, but we'd have to look at some NOTAMs and NOTMARs for notice to air missions, things like that. And also, I'll keep my ear to ground to see what I can find. But I think they're targeting a launch this month. So if mostly successful, we'll see. We could see Voyager turn around and start trading back up, depending on how successful this flight test is.
Okay, that ticker there on Voyager is VOYG. That's been easily the worst IPO performer that we've had here recently. A lot of those IPOs have been crushing it. Voyager really kind of not taking off, if you will. VERB, by the way, back up to the highs here, said that this was not done. Does not look like it's done here, trying to take out 20.
Yep, I think it just printed 2010, actually.
It did.
Cool.
So, yep, this one was not done yet.
if it can hold above 20, then I think 2250 is going to be the next one I'm looking for here. Fantastic stuff. The foreign minister of Taiwan said that China was preparing to invade.
Yeah, I did see that. There were a couple of reports over the weekend. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think that would be a death move for China. I don't see him doing it.
I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, but I agree that it would be absolutely horrible for them.
It would be catastrophic. That would be the end of Xi if that happens. One way or another, that would be the end of President Xi.
Take care, Kevin. Have a good one.
All right, I'll tell you what, for a Monday, this isn't bad. We got right back into the action here on a Monday. Had Louis Navalier on earlier. Anne Marie's in the chat. We're doing good. This is, I'll tell you what, the sometimes as Monday goes, so goes the week. If that holds true this week, we are in good shape here today, folks. What an awesome day to start here.
It's August. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you know what? We talked about that a little at the open, and I haven't mentioned it since. You're absolutely right, 13. August, likely to be choppy. September, likely to be suboptimal. Bottoms in October, sets us up for a great holiday season.
I'm looking forward to it. They're not self-reliant. They depend upon us to, to buy their crap, and we're not buying their crap. So they're in major trouble. They can't even pay their bills right now. They can't pay their bills. Major trouble. They have local governments in default right now. It's not looking good over there. Don't let the wool get pulled over your eyes. VERB running even more now.
Yep. I'm glad that we said that is likely not done here today. Okay, 13. That's it. We did it. Another great Monday in the books here. I don't know why it does that. Any closing words for the group?
Oh, folks, another wonderful Monday with y'all. It was a great time. Let's see what we get tomorrow. Don't try to force any trades. Hopefully, if you're in VERB, you're taking some profits and trading this appropriately without getting yourself hurt. Let's do this again tomorrow. I'll see you then, folks. Take care. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
Deal. We'll do it tomorrow. 13 is booked for the show. Sounds good. VERB, by the way, 2245, your pre-market high. Watch that level. That's the next upside target that we have here today. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll be back here tomorrow. Remember, Anne Marie's Option Show.